Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, friends. Hi, Seth. How you doing today? I'm in a slightly different space today. We had to move downstairs for reasons, but that's all right. The only downside is that the lighting down here sucks. So I have done my best to light the viewing space, the craft space, by a minute. It's all good. A whole minute and a half. I know, tisk tisk. Hey man, that's better than the 15 minutes, half hour late I used to be. So, we'll take it. Right? We'll take it. I'm going to see if I can zoom this camera in just so we can see what's going on a little bit better. How's everyone doing today? Don't want to zoom in too much, right? I thought, we've done worse. Okay. I don't want to zoom it in too much because then it'll be a bit chaotic. Okay. I think that's everything. So, where have we left off? We have been in miniature mode for the past week, 2 weeks, going on 2 weeks now. So yesterday, I was in full craft gremlin mode yesterday. I think I was probably hunched over like this for a good 3 hours looking at my teeny tiny creations, making sure I can see what I'm doing. And so minimal successes in that respect, but we got a few more things done since we last saw each other. We'll go through the whole lot. But since Tuesday, when we made a bunch of stuff, these are the things that I made yesterday while we were waiting. Oh, Kat, thank you so much for the resub. Always happy to have you here. So yesterday, I managed to make 2 brooms. So there is teeny tiny broom number 1. There is slightly less teeny, but still small broom number 2. Which is, I have to deal with these later, but these little stickers are not sticking very well. And I've had to re-glue multiple times, and I think because of that, there's too much glue on here. But we will cross that bridge later. For all intents and purposes, I am marking this as done. So here's another little broom. I made these little crystals, which are a little bit ridiculous. They were that's why I was hunched over all day, because I was so ridiculous. To try to get these to stand upright. So here, alright, you can't even really see them. Here's tiny little crystal things. And then it might work. We might have to, if we try autofocus, I can't guarantee that it's going to make a difference. I feel like everything is way too tiny for what's going on right now. So we'll zoom in, but we'll still autofocus, and we'll see if that works. Yeah, the broom does not seem usable, but that's fine. I think it's just meant to decoratively lay. I don't know why they wanted it to be all twisty. I think because it's going to be very tall where it stands. I don't know why it's such a massive broom. Yeah, need a micro lens. Yeah, possibly. The webcam's just not cutting it, but that's fine. We'll see. And then it also doesn't help that, again, it's so freaking dark down here. Kind of, maybe. Just assume that you're going to see everything super blurry, because there's only so much we can do today, guys. So yes, little crystals, and then the pièce de résistance, the thing that was the most fun to make yesterday, but was a little bit of a pain in the ass, was the mini dessert stand. Look how freaking cute it is. I know it's very blurry, so it's difficult to really see how freaking cute it is, but just trust me on this, okay? You're just gonna have to trust that it is as cute as I say it is. The only problem was this little, you can't really tell, but it says eat me. It has like a little eat me sign on it. And that is paper, and they wanted me to twist this tiny ass wire around it. And so naturally the paper hole ripped, but I managed to re-glue it in a way so it should be fine. But geez, it was such a pain. But yeah, the little polymer Tritos were so freaking cute. Here, you can see a little bit better now. Yes, the autofocus is working. This is the way forward. So that's what's going on here. So very, very pleased with that. Yeah. Here, let's see if we can... No, I don't want to fuck with that. Should we go through and see what the other ones are? Oh yeah, did you post some stuff in Discord? Let me take a look. Things are taking a minute to load for me. Have you been working on some stuff, Saf? Very good. Oh, Bodhi's posted something new as well. They've been on a cross-stitching craze. Or, a crochet craze. They're super cute. I'll pack on those later. We sewed a skirt and spray painted a fwog. Very cute. I like it. Airbrush wrap skirt. That's awesome. So is the frog on the skirt as well? Or is it the skirt and the frog is somewhere else? The wrap skirt's really cute. I like the airbrushing on it. How do you find using an airbrush? Do you enjoy it? Because every time I see people use airbrushes, it seems like they get clogged and they just seem to be like a big faff. But obviously the results are very cool when you can get them to do what you want. So I respect that. Oh, the frog's on a wood panel. Very cool, very cool. No, I like them. It looks very cool. Yeah, that's good. That's good, right? That's the main thing. As long as you enjoy using that medium, then it shouldn't really matter. Okay. Before we move on to, we're going to be doing a lot of little tiny paper things today. I think we're doing a lot of folding. So we'll see how that goes. I think this might have reset to not be zoomed in anymore. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Yeah, having some existing... Yeah, you have a baseline of spray painting, and I feel like airbrushing is just, like, tiny spray painting, so that's not too bad. Hi, Soul. Good afternoon. How are you? Should we go over... Okay. Okay. Let's just recap. Let's recap. I don't know if I can fit all of the things on the screen, but we're gonna try just so that everyone can see what we've worked on so far. Oh yeah, I didn't even say, you guys, of all the other things I worked on, the other one that was a bit of a pain in the ass, but I thoroughly enjoyed, was this like kerosene lamp. So folding the wire was a bit difficult, but I was quite fascinated with this because the components of it are like a snap. So when you guys look at snap making kits, they usually have this section and then this section here that creates the snap to hold on it. And so I like the fact that it's taking actual like items that have a separate function and separating them to make something different. Because I feel like that's what a lot of people who do miniatures outside of actual kit making do. And so I'm quite impressed by that. But yeah, so that's really cute. I'm trying to show you guys in the light. I have another light here, but I'm trying to do like ambient light without like washing out myself and shoving it in my face and creating too many shadows. But we'll see what happens. It could be by the end, by the time the sun goes down, we might have to just do like full glare just for the sake of you guys being able to see what's going on. But thank you for bearing with me in my different setup for today. But yeah, oh, thank you. I'm glad you love the Twisty Broom. The Twisty Broom is very fun. Yeah, I'm doing good. Like I said, we're downstairs today. We're in a slightly different setup, which I don't mind, except for the fact that it's really freaking dark down here. But we're gonna make it work. I did think it was kind of cool though, because we're in front of, make sure, the bookshelf, my bookshelf, which has many an Alice in Wonderland themed book on it. So it feels a little appropriate, We could even go through, I don't know. I'm like, do we want to go through all my various Wonderland books if you want? Is that Phantasma as well? Yeah, you know what? I actually don't have Phantasma down here, which is really rude of me. But this is like sort of a different kind of Phantasma. Liam's aunt got this for me. He lights up too. Look at that. He's like a disco Phantasma. But yeah, so there's all sorts of interesting little fun things on here. But yeah, a lot of the stuff over here, I counted. I started a brief thing. I've seen like, I think I have about 9 Alice in Wonderland adjacent books. 10. About 10 different various books. So I have like the actual Alice in Wonderland books in various versions, and then I have different like takes on Alice in Wonderland. Actually, now that I think about it, I have way more than 10. Maybe not way more, but a lot more. Maybe we'll go through them one day. I don't know. You need your controller lighting. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's one of those where the sun is helpful for me, but it's been so gray and gloomy here that it's trying to get the right light balance. The stream setup has an okay one in terms of craft lighting. It's one of those where I sort of prioritize lighting the crafts versus lighting my face. Right now, my face is a lot more, it's better lit than the crafts today, which is a shame, but you know, it's fine. Yeah, not a huge fan, just like a tiny smidge of a fan. Anyway, I'm trying to include all of the crafty things on the table so you guys can see what we've been doing. Hi, Aurora. Good afternoon. How are you? I'm just trying to strategically place all of the things we've made so far so everyone can sort of see what we've been up to with varying levels of success. There we go. There's the tea shop here. This is at a weird angle, so I need to hold that. And then we got our cubes, and we got this. I'm trying to fit everything. We got this tiny thing. There's just so many little ditties. Here we go. So far. It's true. Well, you say that. I'm trying my damnedest, and it still isn't like 100%. We're not 100% all in, but we're pretty ding-dang close. And then there's this tiny-ass little drink me sign, which we're going to be using later. Okay, gang's all here. This is what we've worked on right now. So far. So far, so good. Yeah, the windows... If your windows are behind you while you're streaming, I could see why that would be ridiculous. Like, see why that would be problematic, because then you would get the whiteout, and then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I see why you stream at a different time. Not too bad. Super tired. Oh, you got a Cricut Joy! Oh my god, that's incredible! Oh, I love that. We got one for my brother-in-law for his birthday too. There's probably so many cute things to play around with on that, so I totally empathize with the self-inflicted crafty tiredness. That's incredible. All right, so now that we have seen all, now it's time to start crafting again. So we need to move some of our bits out of the way. We'll try to keep some things in frame maybe so people can sort of see what's been going on, but not too much so that stuff is in the way. Right now, we're gonna be working on this thing, which doesn't look like anything, but it's going to be a plant. Right now it is strategically smooshed wires, and we're gonna glue some tiny ass little leaves onto it. There's gonna be a lot of that. And then we're gonna be doing a hell of a lot of like little folding. So it's gonna be fun. Like I said, I cannot promise how much of this you're gonna be able to see. It could be a very blurry experience for you, but we're gonna try our best. Ooh, exciting! New airbrush. Everyone's getting new crafty toys. I love that for everyone. I love that for everyone. Okay, let's pop these over here. Okay, some crafty. Ooh, we'll keep the tiny, this is my favorite. I think it will forever be my favorite. The tiny little dessert tray. We'll keep that in frame just because it makes me so freaking happy. It was really fun cutting the little polymer clay to make little Treatos. I love it. Oh, okay. So you've already done that. Very cool. I see, I see. I thought you meant recent. Well, it is recently. You just couldn't wait to get that bad boy started, and I get that. There we go. There we go. So we have some bits on stream in the frame still. The other thing too is it's been so freaking cold, so my hands are very cold, which I feel like is not ideal for dexterous, tiny creation work. But like I said, we're gonna do our best. We're gonna have fun. This is the bag of tiny papers. Most of the tiny paper cutouts are in here. So now we just have to make sure we get the right ones. Oh, yesterday when I was working on stuff. Oh, thank you, so. We'll drink the tea. Hopefully, I think the tea is cooled down enough. And we are drinking our favorite, Mr. Earl Grey. Mr. Earl Grey himself. It's very nice. Hopefully this will warm me up from the inside. Oh, and if Saul keeps shouting egg in the chat again, I will remember why he's doing that, because I have the Cadbury egg mug, the cream egg mug. Saul does this thing where he's very observant and he'll point stuff out while I'm streaming that I completely am not even thinking about, and then I'm just like incredibly confused for a good like 2 to 3 minutes. Exactly. I beat you to it. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, when you are more observant in my stream than I am, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And you're like, you're literally drinking out of a cream egg mug. And I'm like, oh yeah, right, I forgot. Okay, I wonder, this could be very dangerous, but I'm wondering if we just dump all of the paper cutouts out. These are the extras in case we lose some of them. Just because then it might be easier to find what we need. Like, because in here, there's like the tiniest little heart, the tiniest little whatevers. I don't know, we'll see. Speaking of it, well, no, I was going to say, speaking of tiny things, but kind of, I guess so. It's not really. This is me really poorly trying to segue into telling everyone that I shipped my giveaway keychains yesterday. I went to the post office, I put on my big girl pants, and I left the house, and I did the thing. And it was good. So hopefully they don't take too long to get to everyone. So I'm really excited for you all to receive them. Not only are you gonna get keychains, but you're gonna get little extra fun bits and a little like thank you card, postcard from me. So I'm really excited for you all to receive them. Do you really? Oh, that's amazing. What else is coming from the UK, Kat, if you don't mind sharing? That's very exciting. Okay, let's excavate what we actually need. So these are all the tiny little tea boxes that we're gonna be folding later. But we're not folding them yet. Right now we're making a plant. And then, but yeah, so we'll see. Oh, your capybara earrings. Yes. Oh, so the capybara did not appear after Tuesday. That's a shame. But to be fair, you did order them regardless of whether or not the capybara was going to be found. So it's good that you already have them en route, and it's not like you were going to wait and try to find it. So you have, you know, more things to look forward to. Okay, and we also have this tiny ass bow we're gonna need in a minute, so we'll keep that out. We'll keep this little thing out. Do we need this? Here, let me show you guys what we're making. Because at least this printout is kind of large enough. So we're making this plant. And then we're making a gift bag. And then we're rolling some papers. Not those kind of papers. Be nice. Paper box. So we'll see. See how it goes. Current projects, Hawaiian Aloha skirt. Ooh, midi skirt, Hawaiian Aloha skirt, and bow tie. That's amazing. That's so cool. That's so creative too, Saf, to be able to conceptualize things like that. That's really impressive. I'm excited to see how that turns out for you. Okay. Let me create, how many leaves? We need 1, 2, 3, 4, we need 6 leaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All of the leaves have been found. Shall we sort out the rest of the papers anyway? Just to, we'll push them to the side, because the last thing I need is getting glue on everything. But that could still totally happen. Oh. Yeah. wrap skirt, 2 long pieces of fabric. Yeah. Again, incredibly intricate. They're the perfect size, apparently. My sister used to use those small Bibles as rolling papers. That's incredible. Oh, I love that. Hey, man. Smoke them if you got them. Roll them if you got them. It's fine. I respect that. I respect the ingenuity of people. Like, I was never one to partake, but I knew people who, like, you know, could make drug paraphernalia out of like apples, water bottles, all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, hey man, I respect that. I respect everyone's creativity. Some people use their creativity for different things, but it doesn't make it any less creative. Yeah, exactly. They were passing them out for free. Exactly. I wholeheartedly respect that. Oh, extra leaves. Oh, are these? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Are they just extra? They're just extra for funsies, just in case. Just in case we lose them, which fair. I respect that. That's probably gonna happen. Okay. Do we need... Okay, we don't need the little heart. I don't want to lose this. This tiny ass little heart. Got my eyeballs on you. Okay. Oh. The other thing too, so earlier guys, I've been super obsessed. I've told you about this. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It sounds very intricate, but it sounds simple enough, just very time consuming. I'm excited for that for you. She got a whole chemo schedule. Oh, that's really awesome that you're able to stay with her. So is that like, I guess, is the schedule a thing where like she has an intensive amount for like, I don't know, like a couple weeks at a time or something? So then you know that whole time that's happening, so you're able to take that whole chunk off. I don't know why I thought maybe it was like more sporadic, that you went like bi-weekly or like twice a week or something. She'll be on 4 different. I didn't even realize there was that many types. That's crazy. Power to her though, sending her all of the strength. Cause I feel like, you know, from what I've heard, chemo's no joke in terms of what it puts your body through. You know, with the hope that the gain will be better than that. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to ask you about this because Thursday was the cutoff for the wonderful Stars in Your Mouth show that Saul's putting on Sunday. We had one person pull up and become a judge on Sunday. Another guest had to pull up because someone else had taken their place. I should get more entries today. I'm also going to have 3 of my characters perform anyway, just in case. Okay, so you're going to have your characters on standby, maybe? Are you going to be... like, are your characters guaranteed going to be in the show? Or is it like you're going to have recorded a few things on standby, and then on the day, if people do or don't have stuff going on, you're going to then input them? Should do the remote for 2 months. Okay, yeah. This will basically be for a whole month. Wow, that's a lot. Oh, Saf, I was just saying that I know it'll be a big project, but it sounds like you understand the components that are simple enough for you. So you're going to be able to pull that off, and that's really exciting. Yeah. But yes, guys, if you don't know, this Sunday, I'm going to be over on Saul's channel because he's going to be doing a version of, I guess it's a British game show, isn't it? Called Stars in Your Eyes. But his version is going to be called Stars in Your Mouth, where we're going to be transforming into different musical artists and performing. And people are going to judge. So I've decided, or I have submitted myself transforming into Amy Lee from Evanescence, which was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm really excited to see everyone else's transformations and performances, because I think it was just so much fun to do myself. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah, that's the thing, right? And also, if you chip away at it, Saf, a little bit at a time, I'm sure, you know, parts can be daunting. You can always put it aside, pick it back up again. It's all a learning experience, so, you know, we all believe in you. Okay, I'm going to start gluing these leaves on. I don't actually know. I don't know. We're just going to be random with it. And then I really hope this works. I hope I don't have to just, like, hold them the whole time. Am I doing this on camera? You can't see what the hell. No one can see what's going on. It's fine. Just trust me. I'm currently gluing tiny leaves onto wire. That is what is happening. Probably gonna record them and include them anyway. Yeah, just gonna show a bit more practice. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because as of right now, how many competitors will there be, including your 3 characters? What are we looking at in terms of who's my competition? Just kidding. So are you going to be able, I don't know how it works, Kat. Like, do you have, I guess, like, I guess you're using your vacation, or do you have sort of like, kind of like a parental compassion leave? I guess that stuff only applies when people are like palliative, which is really annoying. But like, basically, do you have the option so your work is accommodating the fact that you're going to be able to spend time with your mom, or do you have to take like a week holiday to do it? You know what I mean? Or can you even, because I'm sure some of the stuff you're doing, you could probably work from home. Obviously, you want to be supporting your mom and, like, making that your kind of full-time thing. But you might still be able to do that. You know what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to attempt something. I'm going to attempt to, there we go. Is that a little bit better? See, I'm completely, like, blinded. But at least you can see the crafts better, I feel. I'm in ghost mode right now. Just ghosty Tash right now. For the sake of the crafts. For the sake of the crafts, I will... Yeah. I will blind my face. Priorities, okay? We have 8, including yourself confirmed, with 1 being... Oh, duet! Very cool. Yeah. Oh, that's not bad. That's really exciting, though. A duet. Ooh. I'm trying to think who they might be. What kind of a duet? I'm excited. I'm excited to... Here, I'm trying to make myself not look as ghost-like, but still like the projects. Okay. Semi-ghost mode. Okay. Burr. Okie dokie. Hopefully that's enough glue. I've kept everything hush-hush. Yeah, absolutely. I know. Part of me wasn't sure if I was, like, not supposed to be spilling my transformation process, but I was just like, well... No one else is being... Yeah, absolutely. I never know when I'm, like, collabing with people if I should be, like, promoting them or if it's, like, a surprise or, like, what it is. So... But I'm excited. I'm excited to have genuine reaction to transformations. Did I put the glue in the right place? I might not have. Let's try this again and try to get the glue in the right place this time. There we go. Oh no, I wanted to put this up here. There we go. So I was trying to figure out where this actual plant is going to go on the project because it doesn't like look like it appears anywhere in the house, and it's like off to the side. You know what I mean? So if this is basically what I'm saying is if this is incredibly ugly, it's fine because it's not going to be in the shop. It's like off to the side is what I'm saying. Yeah. No, absolutely. I did. I had so much fun. A month of chemo. Yeah, like I said, it's not something I really have gotten a chance to do since like high school, you know what I mean? So I'm appreciative of the opportunity. Very good. Coffee acquired. I feel like as much as it's like I know they give you little tools and stuff to help you, but it's like the tweezers and stuff they give you in these kits are not always the strongest. So sometimes it's just easier to use your fingers and get glue all over them and hope for the best. There you go. You can kind of see. There you go. You can kind of sort of maybe very vaguely see what's going on. I feel like I actually wanted to stick that one in the center, but it's fine. You know, the universe decided that we wanted the leaf to be there, and that's just where it's going to be. Okay. There's another plant we have to make after this. Oh, interesting. We're just after full moon. Interesting. Does your, like, I know sometimes, like, for instance, my brother, I think he's a night owl, but because he works like a traditional kind of 9 to 5, he then needs to, you know, his day job doesn't allow him to live his full life job, you know what I mean? So are you in a position where your sleep schedule can shift and change and it doesn't impact, like, I don't know, like your employment or anything like that? Because that's really good if you're able to sort of work on your own schedule. Because I feel like bodies naturally have their own rhythms, and society isn't always designed or built for certain sleep schedules, despite the fact that that's the way a lot of people work. Dad stayed with us last night for some appointments this morning, and he was leaving. He saw. Oh, interesting. You had a giant black bear. Wow. Yeah. What's your sort of, like, I don't know, wild critter that's, like, the mainstay in your area? You know what I mean? Okay, yeah. So then you're able to sort of fluctuate on your own schedule. That's really good. Coyotes are usually the only thing. Yeah, that's really interesting that there was a black bear then. Do you have any, like, local zoos? Maybe it escaped from the zoo or something. Does this one make sense? one makes sense there. This one. I'm just trying to figure out what size I want the last leaf I glue on to be. Nope, didn't even know our zoo had a bear until recently. Okay, like small wallabies. Interesting. Yeah, because like when I lived in Canada, obviously it was a lot of like raccoons, and then every once in a while we'd like see foxes. To be fair, Northern Ontario where I grew up, we absolutely had black bear sightings. It would be like, oh, make sure you take a different route home from school today because there was a black bear on this street. And it's like, okay, we're gonna go a different route. But like for Northern Ontario, that makes a lot of sense. For Alabama, that doesn't make sense to me. That's very bizarre. But then here, it's majority foxes. The foxes are basically like the raccoons of the UK. You think they're like these majestic, wonderful creatures, and I feel like they probably are. You know, they still are, and they look really cute and stuff, but they, you know, they basically have become like raccoons in a way, so they're quite, I don't know, haggard is the kind of the best way I can describe them. Yeah, always seems glamorous until the winter, absolutely. The possums are so cute down there. Platypuses. I think platypus, it's one of those things that you would think to like see in the wild would be wild to me. Interesting. Yeah, it's very glamorous. I think it's glamorous if you enjoy, again, it's like with anything, right? Like you have to have like some people are very big city people and they like kind of brick and concrete jungles, if you will, the hustle and bustle of those sorts of places. And obviously like you have your city centers and stuff in Canada, but like where I grew up, like, I don't know, you had to really enjoy nature because that's what the majority of there was there. And a lot of people do, like there's a big, you know, like hunting, fishing culture and stuff where I grew up. But yeah, I was not a fan of the winter. My dad was saying how, or my parents, I was shouting at my parents. Luckily, I think it was -9 for them the other day, Celsius. But there was a time around winter where it was like -19, and that was considered like a nice change to the -30 that they had been used to for the last little while. All right. So here's our plant. Cute. Now let's move on to the next. Let this baby dry. Yes, we are aware that a platypus is a mammal. They're one of the 2 mammals in the world that lay eggs. Disrupts homeostasis. Interesting. Well, maybe I don't want to see a platypi in the wild. I don't want to see platypi in the wild. A platypus in the wild. Maybe I would like to avoid that. Okay. Next is the little gift bag. Okay, we need to fold the gift bag, glue the gift bag, and then glue the little pieces onto it. Seems easy enough. And then is it Take Me? That's the one we want. So 4 components, foldy folds need to happen. Let's hope for the best. Because they're tiny, I like to use the ruler to like line up my folds. Just to make things a bit easier. I'm gonna move some of this out of the way. Get out of the way. Yeah, that would make sense. Probably like most things. It's like don't, like if you give them enough space, I'm sure it's fine. You know what I mean? That was like it always frustrated me when there were tourists. Like when we would go to Banff in Alberta, it's a national park. And so there's signs everywhere being like, you know, don't approach the wild animals. You're going to see a lot of wild animals. Like, don't get out of your car. Don't, like, try to pet them. Like, don't, you know what I mean? And still, every time, it's like we would be driving and you would see like a bunch of mountain goats. And it would be like on the road. I don't think they were mountain goats, but they were some sort of goat thing. Rams. And people would like be getting out of their cars and trying to get close to them so their friend could like take a picture with them beside it. And it's like, you're gonna get hurt. It's like, why do you do that? Don't do that. Respect the nature. Don't be getting all up in the animal's business and then like getting upset when they try to defend their territory. Like, I have no patience for people that are like, this thing attacked me. And I'm like, were you all up in its space? Probably. Shit doesn't get provoked. Like, animals, I don't know. This is me just like speculating, talking out of my ass, but it's like animals won't attack unless they feel they're being provoked or their offspring are being provoked. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're not near the babies and you're not all up in the other one's business, you should be fine. So don't do those things. They're also bioluminescent. Oh, interesting. Hey, man. Now we know. And knowledge is power. Isn't that from Schoolhouse Rock? Did you guys ever have those like little, we had video, like CD-ROM games that were like that. They were based on School of Rock, which were these like little vignettes and stuff, and they had all these different songs to like teach you things. And knowledge is power. There's one, it's like, I'm not even from the States, because of course they were US based, so I learned all about bills because they had a really infamous song. And then there was one all about conjunctions, and like that shit still sticks in your brain for a long time. They teach you things, it's like about phonics and math and like world history and stuff like that. And some of it wasn't even my world history. It was like states-based history. But I remembered the songs. Does anyone else have Schoolhouse Rock growing up? I feel like I was editing that. Yeah, interesting. That makes a lot of sense. Do you naturally have a passion for animals, Saf, or you just have a natural passion for knowledge? Because both can be a thing. Because I know people, like, even if it's, like, not something that they particularly are passionate about, they just like knowing things and researching things. You sure did. You had Schoolhouse Rock? Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Working out words and phrases and clauses. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? I got and, button, or they can get you really far. Just have lots of random knowledge. That's fair, man. Also, Carlos overpowered for Jaws. Yeah. Interesting. What is this cat? Ooh. That's so cool. Someone cross-stitch on the building. Is that what it is? Is it cross-stitch? Holy shit, it is! It's like massive cross-stitch. Yo. That's so cool. I wonder what kind of like fabric they used. Wow. That's incredible. Yeah, I'm like, I would like to know the materials and would also like to do that. Yeah. That was like, I remember seeing, my mom sent me a couple things, like a trend where people were getting tattoos, but the tattoos were, they were cross-stitch style, so like they would get a flower, but instead of just getting an artist to draw, like to tattoo a flower, like in whatever sort of art style, it would be in like cross-stitch style, which I always thought looked really cool. Yeah, possibly. Maybe sort of like a waterproof, plasticky kind of yarn stuff. Those are words. Okay. We've done the folding. Now I need to attempt to put the bag together. Glue as shown. You're like, you didn't really. So I think I need to. How do we think this is put together? Like that, probably. Or I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, perfect. You have another invite for me. I will check that out. I will definitely check that out. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. No, that's really cool. Okay, I'm like currently on the struggle bus. How am I doing this? Oh, I see. We do need to like pinchy pinch this a little bit. Jesus. Okay. Yeah. I see. Okay. And then this one is pinched in a little bit. Like that. Maybe. I don't know if I have, like, you know, I do a lot of tiny crafting, you know, like tiny cross stitch, tiny beading. So I'm like, you know, I can probably get away with doing tinier crafts. But god damn. Do we just like glue shit down and hope for the best? Maybe that's what we do. We just put glue on stuff and hope that it works. Yeah, to be fair, I'm the same way. Like, there's some cross stitches that I've done or I've looked at, and I even am like, there's no back stitching on this. I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, we're gonna glue this on here. And like I said, hope for the best. And then we will, I think once we have the bottom glued, then it'll be easier to manipulate the top part. At least that's what I'm trying to convince myself of. Okay. Oh, and Saul, 100% yes. Yes to the invite. I love quizzes. I love trivia. I love, if it's all obscure British humor, I might not do so well. I'll have to brush up on the categories. But I love me some trivia. Especially if you throw in some like movie or Disney trivia, like, I'm your girl. But yes. Sunday the 20th. Yeah, I assume so. I don't usually have things going on Sundays. So, say yes, always. I'm like, I love me some trivia. Okay. Now I don't think, ooh, maybe, is this meant to go over top of this? I feel like it's not. I feel like it's meant to go inside. Okay. Let's glue this side down. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, of course, dude. I feel like unless I have something going on, every single thing you ask me to do, I will probably say yes. Like, unless I am not, yeah. Like, it's never oh, I'm not sure I'm interested. It's I'm always interested. It's whether or not, like, other life shenanigans have gotten in the way of me being able to say yes. Woo! Ah! It's fine. I'm just yelling for the sake of it. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Okay. That's pretty crazy, though. You're doing 2, like, big shows back to back. Well, not back to back, but you know what I mean? Don't you, like, you're doing 2 this month. That's wild. I think this is supposed to fold over, or else it would be weird. No, absolutely. Yeah, please always, always ask me. Okay, let's glue this on. And then we will glue the tiny accessories on it as well. Let's hold this. Do a pinch. Every 2 weeks. Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's incredible. Good for you. Because it's like, that's a lot of coordination. You know what I mean? Like coordinating people, coordinating schedules, coordinating sound. Okay, step 1 of tiny box completed. Now we need to glue the other features of it. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, that's amazing. Oh, it's unreal what you've been able to accomplish. And you, honestly, guys, like, if you're not already following Saul, like, I don't understand. Because he has just the coolest community of people, and he's so fun. I was hanging on his stream yesterday, and he has this thing called, what is it called? The Wheel of, I don't know. It's just the Wheel of Excitement, almost. That's how I feel it is. But basically, if you sub, or you gift subs, you get to spin this wheel, and then all this, like, crazy shenanigan stuff happens. So you can, like, make Saul put on, like, silly hats and silly masks, and you can do fun quizzes. Variety, that was the word I was looking for. The Wheel of Variety. So Saul was, like, wearing cat ears and, like, a futuristic silver mask and, like, a skull scarf at one point. And then sometimes I've come on stream and he's wearing, like, what was it for Thanksgiving? You were wearing a turkey hat one day. He was wearing a onesie at one point. Like, he has some incredible outfits. The other thing, too, is if you don't know, he's also seems to be terrified of the Psycho sound, you know, from the movie Psycho. And so if you people donate bits, it will play. And so he got jump scared, like, what, 3 times in your stream yesterday? Absolutely. Hey, man, I feel like you are on your way, good sir. Okay. I assume this is meant to sort of look like an Alice in Wonderland dress. Like, it's meant to look like Alice's dress, because we have this, like, little blue, basically little dress form, and then there's the collar with the little heart, and then there's a little white, and then we're gonna put a little bow on it as well and attach the... Oh no, yeah. They fit me with Psycho. Absolutely. Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, no, it absolutely got you a couple of times. Okay, now it is time for... We should probably glue this on first. And then... Or, if we stick the bow on and then sort of tuck the Take Me thingy on afterwards, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. Sort of like here, I think, is what it wants me to do. So if I put like the tiniest blob of glue in the center. Oh, really? Yeah, I noticed I got a couple new follows yesterday. I really appreciate that. Cool. I just like little tea and forests, man. Oh, you know how I was talking about that forest concentration app that I got I was talking about it on Tuesday, but I got it a couple days ago. I didn't put enough glue on here. Well, I finally had enough coins to unlock a mushroom. I didn't unlock the spooky mushroom or the witchy mushroom. I needed a lot more for that. But just a regular old, like similar to my follower or my subscription emote. It's a very similar one to that. So I was very, very happy about it. Okay. So, because that is sort of tentatively stuck on, hopefully we can like tuck this one in there somehow. That's what I'm going to attempt to do. Yeah. Oh, no, maybe this is a bad idea. Oh no! Oh no! Time is of the essence, friends. Glue is drying as we speak. Oh no. Oh no! Okay. No, this didn't work. This didn't work at all. Shit. It's fine. It's fine. We'll fix it. Put that there. And then we can lift this up and there we go. It's fine. It's fine. Hi, Meg. Good morning. Were your ears ringing? Saul was just talking about you. Don't worry. All good things. All good things. Okay. Okay. Here. Let's hope and pray that this stays. Should I put more glue on just in case? No. We're just gonna... It's fine. It's fine. Okay. On fingers and toes crossed. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's my vibe. That's the goal, is to have a nice little cozy, relaxing craft setup. You know, because I myself am quite a loud, obnoxious person when I get going. So I like to have a cozy ambiance around me. Or I like to be, you know, the cozy ambiance brings out the best in me, is what it is. So here is our little Trito bag, our little Alice Trito bag. Hopefully that dries fine. It stays up on its own, so that's good. That's helpful. Very relatable, right? Exactly. Isn't that like one of the things that I'm realizing, at least in this space, a lot of creatives, we're all just a bunch of like introverts that are looking to find our like people And then once we find our people, that's it, we're off. You know what I mean? Like, I can be full on obnoxious and loud, but only with the right company. You know what I mean? Other than that. Or it's like I need a lot of introversion recharge time. Yeah, hopefully. We'll see if he makes an appearance. He's currently upstairs at the moment. He's never where I am, which is rude. But he might come and say hi later. He made an appearance at the end of Tuesday's stream, because usually he's in the other room. He's my officially, as of the 7th, 2-year-old lurcher. He's like a Greyhound Saluki Whippet mix. So he's a very long boy. He's a silly long boy with ears and legs that have minds of their own, is the best way I can describe him. Yeah. Though I did notice that the music I had in the background was so loud and obnoxious. So I turned the music down a little bit today. We'll see if that makes a difference. I think it's because it was like it was the calming cinematic, so it's going like as like I'm talking to Shadow, and I'm like, that can be a lot. I just got a golden retriever, and you cannot tell me she's in part weasel. That's so funny. Oh, I love it. How old? My friends got a golden retriever. I think he's 3. They adopted him. I think it was last year, the year before. Minus we're part human. Oh, Shadow is king of the side eye. Honestly, like, especially, like, sometimes he'll just look at you and he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, excuse me, sir. The audacity of you to not feel that way. You're in some change. Oh, honestly, that's the thing, right? Like, even after like a year old, we're like, okay, like Shadow's officially an adult dog, and it's like, nah, he's just a baby. Honestly, he'll be like an old man with like gray chops, and I'll still be like, this is a baby. You know what I mean? But okay, we're meant to roll up these papers, and I think we're meant to wind them pretty tightly. I don't know if it's worth me probably gluing the ends at some point, but that's incredible. Aww. What's her name? Did you say what her name was? No. What's her name? Honestly, like, my Instagram now is basically filled with, like, spooky cute art, like, local artists. And, that's actually a really clever idea. I do have leftover from the broom. Ho ho! Wow. Look at you, Kat. Dropping knowledge. I feel like you did that the other day, where you were like, what about this? And I was like, freaking genius. I don't even know. But next level shit right here. This is why I make these things on stream. So then people can come by and be like, what about this? And I'll be like, this is why you are here. Because it just makes it so much easier than to glue, too. And then I'm not, like, crushing it. Absolutely. Brilliant. Okay, let's put a little bit of glue along the end. We'll see if we actually get to, because if we can, hopefully, you know, I say this, but, you know, tiny folding could be a lot more time consuming than I think it's going to be. We might actually get to, like, the showcase, which is, like, an actual piece of the main shop, and we get to actually start sticking some of these accessories in, like, a larger piece, which will be very exciting. But we'll see if we get there. We have plenty of tiny folding to do before then. Oh no, watch. Oh, I was like, watch now, the toothpick doesn't come off. There we go. Boom. Cat coming in with just the smart knowledge. I don't know, there's something, let me show you this thing. Honestly, this is my first time doing it. It's only because I think I was talking to somebody on it. You know, you just look at things and by default, like, tiny things are just objectively cuter. I don't know what it is. I don't know if, like, what predisposition we as human beings, when we see a miniature version of something, we're like, why is this the cutest freaking thing in the whole wide world? And so naturally I started following these different, like, miniature building accounts. And so this one specifically is a company called Rolife. And they make a bunch of different ones. So these ones actually came out recently. Because I've seen a lot of ones that are like coffee shops and bakeries and whatever. But like, I'm a tea person. So I was waiting for a tea shop. And I also, less so obsessed, but still love Alice in Wonderland. Wonderland, the whole universe. Like, I was just saying earlier how I have like over 10 Alice in Wonderland adjacent books. Just on various things. Maybe we'll go through the collection later. I can show you guys if you're interested. But, so then this happened. And I was like, I need this in my life. So as my first foray into miniatures, I thought I best surround myself with the things I love, which is tea. And I'm enjoying it so far. Usually, on this channel, we do a lot of cross-stitching and needle felting. That's like, I don't know, those are like the main crafts of choice, but over the holidays, I got gifted a lot of, aw, Saul, that's really nice. Jeez, good guy Saul over here, guys. What was I gonna say? Oh, yes, I was gifted many a kit over the holidays, so I figured January is gonna be like craft kit month. We've only done 2. I have 5 kits right now. We did one which was like a paper craft terrarium. Aw, thank you, Meg. That means so much to me, like you don't even know. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I don't even know. Yes, so this month we're working on craft kits. So we did like a terrarium paper craft kit, and then we've been working on this one. And then once we're done this one, we have 3 more kits I have. Not all of them I got over the holidays. I have a rug hooking kit. I think that's what it is. It's like, you know, when you make the yarn in a pattern and then you cut it, it's all like floofy and it hangs up. Like a rug hooking kit, I think. And then an embroidery kit, because I do a lot of cross stitch. Cross stitching is like my bread and butter, if you will, but I've never actually embroidered. So I've had that kit for a long time. And then I also got gifted, my partner got me a knit your own doggy snood. So I'm going to attempt to make Shadow some fancy doggy fashions. I've never knitted before. I think I've attempted once in my life. So honestly, this could go terribly. And even if I do it, and I'm sure there might be holes in it, Shadow could be like, this is some garbage, and like chew it up. But we'll see, man. We'll see how it goes. So that's what's going on. But we'll see if this how long this kit takes. If this might be the whole month, and then we just might have to extend craft kit month, because I only have so much space on my like crafting table, so I don't like having like multiple projects on the go unless they're cross stitches with which I can shove them in my craft bags. But like stuff that needs to be left out, it's like I don't have enough space for all of that. So I'm trying not to like do too many at once, but it could be that we maybe take on a kit and do cross stitching or something at the same time. So this one kind of did its like weird little donut roll thing, but I'm not mad about that. You can't even see what I'm doing. It's fine. You know what I mean? When you roll something and it doesn't actually roll on top of each other, it sort of like creates this little whatever thing. So yes, that's what we're doing. Cool, paper rolls, done. That was nice. Nice and easy. Next now, see now we are coming down, getting down to business. Let me cross this off the to-do list. We've done this guy, we've done this guy. Now it's time to make teeny tiny tea boxes. Are we ready for this? We have 5 different tea selections at Alice's Tea Shop, if you didn't know. So we have Lapsang Souchong, which from what I remember, I think it's like a very sort of like smoky black tea, if I remember correctly. And then we have a mint tea, which is very nice, good for the stomach. Technically not a tea. It's called like a tisane, or I don't know. It's Tisane. I call it tisane. Is it tisane? Tisane? But yes, in order for something to be called tea, it actually has to contain the Camellia sinensis plant, which is the plant in which all tea derives from. So green tea, black tea, oolong tea, white tea, all of those things are derived from the same plant. It's just the processing and like drying process that creates the different grades of tea. So when something, unless it has actual tea in it, so I have a mint tea right now that's like a Moroccan mint tea that actually is a green tea base that has mint with it. So that can be classified as a tea. But if it's just like peppermint tea or chamomile tea, technically not teas. We have Darjeeling, which is another black tea. I like how detailed these are. Again, you can't see because, you know, either the focus isn't happening or I'm like creating shadows. But just trust me that they look real cute. You're just gonna have to trust me, friends. Okay, and then this is Earl Grey, of course, the classic. We must, absolutely, the absolute bomb of all black teas. And then we have Assam, which is it's like a specific black tea blend. So English breakfast is actually a blend of different types of tea. I think it usually is like a blend of Assam, Ceylon, a couple different ones, and different places, depending on like the strength and potency of the area, will do different mixes. So like I think some tea, like some breakfast teas, depending on the brand, will have a different blend of these different black teas. And as far as I know, I think they're to do with the region, like Darjeeling versus Assam versus Ceylon. It's more about the location of the Camellia sinensis plant, where it was picked, versus like the process, because I think the process to create black tea is all the same. But obviously, like grapes, you know what I mean? Like when you have different wines, there's obviously a bajillion different kinds of grapes. But it's like, you know, if you grow a grape in France versus growing a grape in Canada, that could create the different environment, the soil, the whatever. I'm sure that creates different things. That's my theory. I actually have, in addition to all my Wonderland books, I actually have like a tea encyclopedia. I actually have it right here. I got this bad boy. This bad boy right here. So maybe this book tells us what the difference is, but we don't need to get into that. But yeah, like the history of tea, the types of tea from different countries and provinces and things. Uh-oh. Let's put this back properly. There we go. Yeah. So I think that's why English breakfast isn't on the menu. So I think, what do we need? 4. Some of them are only 2, and some of them are 3. But I feel like I have extras. Oh, no, we don't. Okay, it's fine. So now we do the foldy folds. We have tornadoes today. Oh, geez, no. Oh, to be fair, I've tried to organize them by like category and stuff. Some of them are a bit less so. But yeah, there's all sorts of fun little goodies on here. Again, some of them, well, to be fair, this is the to read section, either to reread or to read. And then a lot of these are books that we've had in our lives for a long time. Liam has a gorgeous version of Series of Unfortunate Events. So I had the series of unfortunate events growing up, and he did too. And so I'm so happy that he has, and he's kept the version he has. Yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I love physical media as well, especially DVDs. Oh, there's like a slightly used DVD store in like the town sort of nearest to us where we used to live. Oh, and you best believe I have to resist every urge in my body to go in there and like find random stuff. The last time I went in there, I bought 2 Scooby-Doo movies and Josie and the Pussycats on DVD. Because I was actually astounded I didn't have Josie and the Pussycats on DVD. Yeah, that's the thing too. And I have pared down some books. Because again, yeah, they're difficult to store. I do think there's more that we can cull. There's some stuff we don't need. But others are just very cool. Yeah. It's because, wasn't I telling you about, because I was obsessed with around, Halloween, how I was, like, obsessed with the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo, which, when I was reading up trivia, they envisioned the Hex Girls were sort of meant to be like a gothic alternative to Josie and the Pussycats, and I was like, that explains why I'm obsessed with both of them. No, it wasn't. I don't actually think, you know what it is? I've not actually seen She's All That. I'm trying to think what my first DVD was. Oh, wow. I don't know. What have I seen? Yeah, definitely. It's one of like the first kind of teen rom-coms for sure. It's like similar era to Clueless. But yeah, I didn't own. I'm trying to think of a lot of DVDs that I ended up owning on VHS. I don't know what the first ones were though. I had a lot of, or VHS tapes, sorry, versus you bought to watch on your computer. Yeah! That's awesome. Okay, I'm just making sure I'm folding all of these correctly. One of the things that I bought, actually, this was, like, not my first DVDs, but recently I found, I think it was in, like, a Shoppers Drug Mart. But, you know, sometimes, so it was, like, a Kids Classics 4-pack, so it was a DVD that had 4 different movies on it, all Mary-Kate and Ashley movies. And I was like, I need it. I need it. Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness! What is it? Sweet LaPhil, thank you so much for the raid from the Crafty Tavern. Oh my goodness, what a fantastic sounding place to be. Crafts in, oh my god, it's like the coolest. You guys like drinking mead and doing crafts? That sounds incredible. I'm so happy you're here. We're in a slightly different setup. My face is completely washed out because we're trying to like capture all the light that we have. But I'm so happy you guys are here. My name is Tash, Nostalgia Tash. We normally cross stitch and needle felt on this channel, but I received a bunch of craft kits over Christmas, and so I've been working on them, specifically on this Alice's Tea Shop miniature kit from Rolife. So we've been currently creating teeny tiny accessories to go in our tea shop. So it's a lot of folding, a lot of tiny things. I've tried my best for my overhead camera to like fully show you what's going on. But it's a struggle, but we're doing our best. What were you working on? I noticed all my friends. Hi, Nungdae. Hi. Hi, Kay. All the coming to you. Honestly, that's the vibe. That's the goal in the vibe, you know? You guys are Crafty Tavern. I'm like Crafty Tea House. So we're very, you know, connected. Yeah. Oh, so tiny. Honestly, the best one so far. I worked on this off stream, but it's the cutest thing in existence. It's the tiniest little dessert tray in all the land. They gave you like tiny little polymer clay strands that you had to cut little tiny pieces. Again, super blurry. You can't really tell, but it's so freaking cute. But yeah, and so it's been a lot. And so these are the sort of big things you can see. So this is the shelf. Actually, this is the shelf where all of these tiny little tea boxes are gonna go. So this is the shelf, which already, you know, is like the size smaller than my hand, and we're gonna put things on there. And then we have this little guy. These are the big things that like I don't need to faff about with the focus to try to achieve. Yeah. Working on a commissioned embroidered patch. Ooh, that's so cool. I was just saying that one of the kits that I have is an embroidery kit. Liam had one, so he allowed me to use his. So we have the craft knife with the blades. Though I'm realizing that there's a blade missing, and I don't know what happened to it. Oh, it's behind here. It's fine. It's fine. Whew! Oh my goodness. Must feed the cat. Oh, yay. It's right here, guys. I was like, oh my god, did I drop a blade? No, it's here. But yeah, so this was actually super helpful in cutting out all the little wooden pieces I needed for cutting the polymer clay as well. Super, super handy. And then yes, all of my pliers and my tweezers and my scissors, so many things. I even decided to use like a needle for some things to like tiny glue stuff. Yeah, it's been wild. It's been wild trying to find the right tool for the trade. But yeah, so now we're intricately folding tea boxes with varying levels of success, I feel. Because not only we're like folding all of the seams too. I'm trying to make straight folds, so I'm kind of using a ruler and lining them up and then sort of pulling up the fold that I need. But some of these are very teeny tiny. It's a good thing I didn't cut all of my nails, because I did file down my thumbnails because they were just getting way too long. But I feel like I still kind of need long-ish nails for this, just to help. Okay, let's finish folding these little guys, and then I think we're ready to assemble our first tea box. Hopefully it will go as well as, if not better than, when we assembled that little treat box earlier. We're also working against the daylight. Like, the sun is almost gone down now. So hopefully we still have enough light to see what we're doing. Okay. We were just before you guys all came in, we were also talking about like physical media. So, because right now we are working in front of the bookcase, and we were talking about DVDs and how there's like a slightly used or secondhand DVD store. They do CDs as well. DVD CD place near where I live. And I have to resist the urge to not go in there all the time, because I always spend my money because I find cool random movies that I've not seen in years that like I can't find on a streaming service. So my last great purchases at the DVD store were Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Scooby-Doo, I think Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase was what it's called. It's when they go in the internet. I haven't actually rewatched that one yet. I have it, but I've not rewatched it yet. Yeah, Witch's Ghost, which is the one with the Hex Girls, and then Josie and the Pussycats, the one with Rachel Lee Cook, Tara Reid, who was honestly born for that role, and Miss Rosario Dawson. So we've done that. Which, again, I haven't rewatched it since I bought it, but I felt the need to own it. That was like when I realized I didn't own Spice World on DVD. I had the original VHS tape growing up. So, you know, every once in a while you find holes in your collection and you need to rectify it. So that's what I did. The other one was, what was the last one? Oh, also too, I don't know if you guys remember, this might be like very niche and quintessentially British, but one of my favorite bands growing up, groups growing up, was S Club 7. And after Paul left the band and they were like sizzling out and they were just called S Club, they had a movie. Do you guys remember this? I know it might feel like a fever dream, but it was a movie about them getting cloned. So I bought that on DVD the other day. This was like a couple years ago because I was like, I need this in my collection because I feel like it's one of those things that you need physical evidence that it exists. That's like a lot of the media that I've kept, like the physical media, like CDs, DVDs, that I'm like, I can't get rid of this because then no one will believe me that this actually happened. So I must hold it. I feel like they put the movie in the Virgin Star Show. Really? That's so funny. Probably. I remember renting it from the video store, from Bianco's. Okay, I think now we're ready to start the tedious gluing process. Let's see how this goes. And I remember too, because I had the, their like final album was called Seeing Double, and it was like kind of also a soundtrack. Like it was kind of the soundtrack to the movie as well. So they have a song called Who Do You Think You Are? And it's like, without context of the movie about clones, you're kind of like, why are they singing about this? Because at one point there's a bridge and it goes, when you're a clone, you know you're never alone. And it's like, unless you know that they were just in a movie about clone versions of themselves, you'd be like, why are you singing that? That makes no sense in the context of the rest of the world. That like, oh yeah, this pop group is just singing about how like having a clone makes you never feel lonely. Like what? Huh? In what world? So kind of like my DVD monster of Mazes and Monsters. Ooh, what's that? Do tell. What is that? What, again, something that you were like, I need to have this so that people know that it exists. You think you've heard the song? Yeah. Who do you think you are? Do you know for sure? And then the best thing too, because again, I don't know if you guys remember, like, I never saw Pop Idol. Obviously, American Idol was the big thing, but before American Idol was Pop Idol. And so even though it wasn't like 100%, the winner, Will Young, and the runner-up, Gareth Gates, were sort of like kind of within my zeitgeist, but not really as much as they were in the UK. But in this, in the S Club 7 movie, Rachel, like the actual non-clone Rachel, falls in love with clone Gareth. So silly. So silly. Okay, we're making our first Lapsang Shushong tea box. To be fair, guys, as much as I'm like, we're gonna smash through these and get to all of the other fun stuff, I feel like all of these tea boxes is gonna take the rest of stream. I'm calling it now. We'll see. It's like when I was folding that stupid butter paper and it took me a whole like 15-20 minutes. It's a terrible 80s movie playing on the TV Moral Path. Oh, no way. It's so funny. I was just watching something that referenced the moral panic of like, oh, parents are always worried about like rock music and D&D. That's so funny. That's like, again, it's another movie. I try to think of like, you know, I don't know, to be fair, that actually sounds not bad. Whereas I do think that there's some movies that maybe people don't want being remembered that they were in. So there's me and my like two close guy friends that I grew up with. We used to go to the movie store and try to find like just the most inappropriate oh, the camera said this. Yeah, I've never seen Splash. But I remember seeing something where, I don't know if they've done it since then or if it was on Disney Plus, where at one point, isn't it like the mermaid character runs into the ocean and in the original cut her butt is showing, but they didn't like, the censors didn't like that. So then they needed to make sure they like CGI'd extra hair onto her body, and it's like really badly done to cover her butt. I remember seeing that on like a like, you know, people react to bad CGI. And it was like the hair extension they put on this character so that her butt got covered. Yes. See, I love movies like that. This is again, I used to go to the video store with my friends and try to find just, again, like, from all standards, it's basically the crassest, most inappropriate thing in the world. But sometimes, you know, you gotta just enjoy the garbage as it comes to you sometimes. Here's our first little tea thing. So, there's this movie that stars Chris Pratt, who we all know now is the worst Chris of the Chris's in the MCU, and has like rebranded himself to be like Mr. Christian God-man, which good for him. If that's his thing, that's fine. But I will always remember him as being the porn-obsessed offspring in this movie called Deep in the Valley, where Chris Pratt and his like straight-laced sort of dumpy friend get transported into an alternate porn universe from this like old porn video booth that Chris Pratt's character buys his money with. And the entire movie is them trying to like live out their fantasies, but Chris Pratt keeps getting chased by a dominatrix and this guy cop who's like, I always get my man, who I think actually was like a running character. The actor had like a running stint on like Hawaii Five-0 or something. So he's like a really big character actor, but he played this thing. There's a million cameos in this film too. It's so bonkers. So Denise Richards cameos as like the sorority mom in this alternate universe. No actual explicit stuff happens, by the way. Like it's like a movie about an alternate porn dimension, and it's like PG-13. You know what I mean? Like, it's so ridiculous. So Denise Richards is in it. Tracy Morgan is in it. Kim Kardashian makes an appearance. It's honestly bonkers. And so I forever know Chris Pratt as being in this very inappropriate PG-13 movie. And now he's like, I'm Mr. Christian boy. And I'm like, no, sir, you are forever to me known as the Deep in the Valley boy. Let me see when it came out. Let me look this shit up just so I'm not... And I remember like us finding this at the video store and me and my friends collectively being like, we can't top in terms of like sexist, misogynistic, inappropriate garbage films that somehow are so campy, trashy, we secretly love them. We can't top it. This is the pinnacle. So when the video store in my hometown went out of business and they were selling all their DVDs, I made sure I bought it. I was like, this needs to be forever known in infamy. I need to procure this piece of history. Because again, people might not realize that it exists. Because it's such a dime a dozen, like... Oh, apparently it's also known by the title American Hot Babes. So. But yeah, look at this screen. And here's doofy Chris Pratt. And there's his weird friend, straight-laced friend. And there's the gang of people. And it's silly. And it came out in 2009. A mysterious video booth transports two friends to an alternate reality straight out of a pornographic film. Yeah, this guy, Scott Caan. So he plays the cop in the film. And he's, isn't it? Yeah, he's in Ocean's 13. Like, he's a huge actor. Again, a lot of huge actors were in this, like, obnoxiously random show. Yeah, I know, right? It's one of those things where you're kind of like, jeez. But I think, too, sometimes, like... sometimes people get called out for stuff, and as much as, like, sometimes you kind of think, and you're like, guys, why didn't you just lay in infamy? You know what I mean? Like, I think sometimes things are better left unsaid. So people are like, speculating this stuff, and instead of coming out and being like, this and this and that, you know, it's just like, just be quiet. Yeah, doofy Chris, right? Like Parks and Rec Chris. then he wouldn't be considered worst Chris. I think he's trying so hard to like leave that. And to be fair, maybe that wasn't him. Maybe his whole personality was what he is now, and he was just kind of forced to play goofy doofy people. But like, he should have just lent into that persona. You know what I mean? Thank you for the tea and the stretch, Nende. Especially because I'm sure you know I've been lent over in pure craft gremlin mode this whole time to try to see when he got abs. Yeah. I used to have this theory. I remember this is like a very high school take, because I had this ex who, like, even when we were dating, he was like kind of becoming a bit of a dirtbag, and he had glasses, and then he started wearing contacts, and I was like, you became an asshole once you got rid of your glasses. So I think sometimes when people who are, you know, and it's not like I didn't, you know, I thought he was attractive beforehand, but sometimes I think people who aren't conventionally attractive then become super attractive for whatever reason, maybe physically, you know, something, whatever. It's like, why you being a jerk now? Get back on the show. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff sort of happening in terms of, like, a reckoning of holding people responsible for stuff that, like, they just, you know, everyone was doing it just because, and it's like, no, actually. So, luckily people are realizing that it, like, wasn't chill. But there's a lot of that. There's actually so much about that, or so much of that, people doing that. And it's like, to be shocking and daring. It's like, oh, to get a reaction. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe the reaction is trauma. And I don't, you know, cool. Should I give you my therapy bill afterwards? That's what they should do. It's like, that should be like, any person who has inappropriately exposed themselves to another person should have to pay for their therapy. It's like, no, you need to help me process the trauma that I've just gone through. Pay up, sir. Or ma'am, whoever. You know, people be inappropriate regardless of their gender. But if you are inappropriate to people, you should have to pay for their therapy to solve the trauma you've put them through afterwards. That's my hot take for today, guys. Don't traumatize people unless you're willing to pay for them to untraumatize themselves. Okay, we're currently folding an Earl Grey. We'll see how that goes. Where are we at in terms of time? We got time. We'll see. We'll see. There's plenty of tea to be folded. Yeah, thank goodness for these pointer nails for helping me flick up the tiny folds I need to make. Alright. Oh, I think I need to make these guys fold as well. So many folds! This is basically like tiny origami. Honestly, like, my brother-in-law does origami, and he does incredible origami. He makes origami flowers, and they're beautiful. So I should be like, you should make tiny versions. Can you make me tiny origami flowers? Like, it's to the point where it's like, our fingers are too big for this. Like, only tiny, like, maybe I should, to be fair, I don't know if he's dexterous enough. It's like, by the time we're dexterous enough to do things like this, we're too big. It's like, I need to get my nephew to be doing these things for me, but I don't think he's dexterous enough to make tiny folds. He'd be like, this is garbage. And I'd be like, listen, your fingers are the smallest. You are the only one. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to fold all of these tiny tea boxes for me. And he'd be like, absolutely not. This is boring. I want to go play Minecraft. And I'd be like, fair. If you must. Let's glue more things. I'm hoping that. I assume we'll have enough. I'm like, part of me is like partially paranoid. Partially paranoid. Wow. I was supposed to say yesterday the punchline of the joke. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's an excellent quote, Kay. The punchline of the joke should never be the victim's distress. 100%. Yeah, that's very eloquently summarized. You know what I mean? Glue that one, glue this one. I think it might be granola bar time soon, guys. I wonder if they'll want us to put the the cabinet in the tea shop before we put all of the tea on it, or if we can put all the tea on it before we stick it in there. I assume we'll probably assemble beforehand. Because it'll feel very like, you know, pirate ship in a bottle to have put everything in the space and then try to put little tiny things in it. But we'll see. Earl Grey. Ooh, here's a question, Kat. As somebody who resides in the States, anyone who's in the States can answer this question. When you ask for like a regular tea at your like local coffee shop or a restaurant, what do they give you? Because here, obviously, the default is English breakfast, whereas in Canada, the tea they give you is orange pekoe, and English breakfast is actually one of the specialty teas. I don't even know if they would carry English pekoe here. Sweet tea, black tea. Oh, they just call it black tea? Like they don't have a special name for it or anything? Or just... like if you were to just ask for... and this is like hot tea. Usually... oh, Lipton. Yeah. Red Diamond. Okay. Ours is Red Rose. The orange pekoe is like Red Rose brand. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what kind it is. Just like Lipton brand black tea. The default here is iced tea. Yeah, that's the other thing too, right? So when you go and like ask for coffee... that's so random. That's so funny to me that it's like not even an option. They're like if you want tea, they just automatically assume you want iced. Interesting. Okay, there's our Earl Grey here. Again, you cannot see it. It is so tiny. Oh, the autofocus gods have graced us, sort of. Sort of, kind of. Okay, 2 down. Many more to go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's like you would be paying... that's extra. Interesting. Yeah, because usually, like, in Canada, you would get Red Rose, which is by standard orange pekoe, which has nothing to do with the flavor orange. It was like, we looked it up. Orange pekoe has something to do with like Count Orange. So it's just black tea. It doesn't actually have an orange flavor in any capacity. But then English breakfast is considered a specialty tea, like your Earl Grey, your mint tea, your fruit teas. Whereas here, the standard is English breakfast. Yeah, I remember, because I went to the States for the first time when I was in like the 3rd grade. So how old would I have been? So like 8 or 9. And I used to really like iced tea, like Lipton iced tea, different teas like that. And the first time I asked for iced tea at a restaurant, I didn't realize you had to ask for sweet tea. So I just asked for iced tea. So they just gave me cold brewed tea. And I was always like, what? I was so confused. So then I learned that you had to ask for the sweetened version. Whereas I feel like now, I'd probably prefer the unsweetened version. Oh, you're team coffee, Meg? Cool, delicious syrup. That's amazing. Very amazing. Yes, absolutely. Enjoy your stream, Saul. Thank you so much for stopping by. Always a pleasure. And I hope your stream goes well, and I will see you soon. Probably tomorrow, and if not tomorrow, definitely Sunday. Like Sprite. Oh, yeah. Like just the, what's it called? Like clear, pops. Sodas. Coke Zero, yeah. The, our family is Pepsi Max. Pepsi Max is the carbonated beverage of choice in our family. I'm not a big fan. I do find it really funny because I remember moving here. Another weird thing when I moved to the UK is that if you ask for, like, if you go to a restaurant and you ask for a lemonade, they'll give you Sprite, like a lemon lime soda. You have to specifically, like, they have to specifically say cloudy lemonade on it for it to be like a not fizzy regular lemonade. Pepsi Max tuning day, yeah. Oh, you love Pepsi? That's so funny. Ooh, you're on opposite teams, you and your hubby. You're team Coca-Cola and he's team Pepsi. Ooh, the drama. The drama. It's like the Romeo and Juliet of carbonated beverages. That makes sense. It's like sports teams. This is the team that my family roots for. My mom, like, we never had a lot of carbonated beverages in the house. That wasn't something, I don't know, like, I've never been a huge pop drinker. I was just about to talk about how, I fucks with Dr. Pepper hard. That was my mom's, like, treat of choice. You know what I mean? Like, we always had a little cheeky Dr. Pepper on hand. Dr. Pepper is the bomb. Oh, Mountain Dew. Yeah, for health reasons. Fair. You hate Dr. Pepper. Fine then. You enjoy Dr. Pepper too, right? See, me and Nungdae have, well, to be fair, I'm not a fan of Pepsi Max. The family is. Dr. Pepper. Yeah. That's fair. That's the thing too. I don't drink, like, carbonated beverages like soda and pop very often. So then it's like to have a preference. But yeah, Dr. Pepper. And then it's hard to get a hold of here. You have to go in like the international section, but root beer is amazing. Like, I messed with Barks root beer. What's the other one? A&W root beer. I didn't really have like a specific root beer flavor preference, but I think you can get Barks here. Every once in a while in the international section, they'll have the like brand name good Dr. Pepper. Or not Dr. Pepper, root beer. But if not, I usually have to get it. It's usually like in the Caribbean section. There'll be like the ginger beer and then the root beer, which is funny. I remember one time I went and got it at the grocery store at Tesco, and the woman was looking at it, like trying to see if she needed to ID me. And I'm like, no, it's not alcoholic. I haven't had a root beer float in years. You just learned A&W is a fast food chain too? That's funny. Again, because I got diagnosed with celiac disease in the 9th grade, so I was like, or in the 8th grade, so I was like 12, 13. But before that, A&W onion rings and their fries, I don't know what it was about the seasoning on the A&W fries, but they were like, oh, chef's kiss. Mom drank so much Dr. Pepper when I was growing up. burnt out on it hard. Yeah. That's fair. I do think sometimes when it's like you almost get oversaturated with a certain food or a certain beverage in your family that you totally get turned off of it. Enjoy Dr. Pepper and Coke, not a Pepsi fan. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's one of those where it's like I would never, like for instance, we have 3 bottles of Pepsi Max in the house, but it's usually because our family comes over and that's one of the things they drink. But me and Liam don't touch it. Ginger ale floats. Ooh, I've never even considered that. Ginger ale is another much loved, like Canada Dry, that was the big thing. So in our house, again, not all the time, just for a treat, Canada Dry, Dr. Pepper, root beer. That's like the trifecta. I've never even thought about it. So with ginger ale floats, would it be ginger ale and then just like the vanilla ice cream again? That sounds, ooh, that's like untapped potential. I might need to attempt, ooh, Meg, ooh. I'm intrigued. I can't have caffeine and hate diet anything. Yeah, that's fair. I'm a big fan of just like a sparkling flavored water. Like usually if I'm gonna have anything fizzy, it's probably like a sparkling, like you can get like flavored sparkling waters, like mixed berries and stuff like that. That's usually more my thing. That's so cool. I never even thought to, yeah. Because I've heard of like people doing it with like Coke or Dr. Pepper or whatever, but never with a light colored, you know, carbonated beverage. I hate supporting Walmart. Oh, yeah. Seltzers. Absolutely. That's the thing. It's like to give you your fizz kick, but not American Clear. Ooh. That sounds really nice. Yeah, we have like, there's just sort of like the chains will have their own, like Tesco's, and they'll do like, it's usually summer fruits, like a blackberry apple. Trying to think what else. Elderflower. Remember elderflower like was a big thing? Different things. I don't think I've ever had root beer before. Ooh. We might have to track some down for you. Again, it won't be the OG. We might be able to find it. Clear American. American Clear. Clear American. Close enough. There's these ones in Canada that we had last time I was there. They were like sparkling water things called Bublés or Bubblies. And I guess Michael Bublé was the spokesperson. And so I guess in the advert, I didn't see the advert, but everyone said that. The advert was like Bubbly. He's like, they're called Bublés. And they're like, no, Bublé, it's Bubblies. And he's like, I'm pretty sure they're Bublés. So, Bublé is so gross. Oh, really? I didn't mind them. Cat's not a fan. Absolutely not. Reminds me of punches at recitals and showers with juice and ginger ale. Ooh, that sounds nice. That sounds real nice. I clearly haven't been to enough like parties where there was a punch. You know what I mean? Like a punch sounds, ooh. Maybe it could be. There's probably different flavors, and different ones might have been. Hey man, but I respect, you know, if you have your carbonated sparkling water of choice. Yeah. Trying to think what other ones. Is everyone like, you know how I think are White Claws alcoholic or non-alcoholic? I feel like everyone was on like a big White Claw phase, and I feel like that is dead now. Maybe it'll come back in the summer, because I feel like those sorts of things are probably more of like a summer beverage. But if White Claws aren't alcoholic, is that another option too? They are alcoholic. Okay, that's what I thought, but I couldn't remember. Baby shower punch, that is a thing here. Oh, that's so interesting. I love that, how it's specifically for baby showers. The official baby shower punch. I'm trying to think of the last time I had like any sort of punch. I think it was when I went to Liam's grandparents' like anniversary party, and his aunt asked me, again, first time meeting all these people, but asked me if I wanted a Pimm's, and I had no idea what that was, so I just said yes. But apparently Pimm's is like it's like a mixed drink thing that I think, I don't know if it's like a mix that you then add alcohol to or if it already has alcohol in it, but that was the last time I had any sort of thing resembling a punch, I think. You also drink them a lot. Yeah. I think so, yeah. I feel like they probably have, they're sort of like, there's other hard seltzers out there. I feel like originally it was kind of like Mike's Hard Lemonade was like the starter, and then the hard seltzers came into play, and now there's probably many, many different ones now. Orange sherbet, lime sherbet, ginger ale, cranberry juice, pineapple juice, use Sprite soda, ginger ale. Interesting. And so when you mean sherbet, is that like the ice cream? You know what I mean? Like the sort of frozen sherbet? Or is there like... Because here, apparently there's like a sherbet powder or something. Yeah, sherbet the ice cream. Yeah. Okay, that's what I thought. Interesting. I like that. I used to drink hard seltzers on the semi-principle because seltzers... Yeah, that's fair. You're like, seltzer's my drink of choice. Not to. Indifferent towards alcohol. Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, ciders are nice. I enjoy a cider. I find, because people here, they really like to drink like fruity ciders. And I don't mind them, but I sometimes find them too sweet. So I just like a real crisp apple one. Where there's no like extra pomp and circumstance to it. I used to drink a lot of the fruitier ciders, but I've gotten over them now. Because again, I just find them almost sickly. That's fair. Yeah, you're like sometimes... And I also think too, like as you get older, unless like that's your thing, because I know people that will have a glass of wine every night with dinner or something like that, but like because that was something that I never grew up witnessing or seeing. That wasn't something that I ever was like, oh, that's a thing that people do, because my parents just never did. So I can see like if something like that has sort of, you've had like an adverse effect, I could see you then being like, no, actually, there's too much of this. I'm gonna not. Some people, and again, some people, it depends on lifestyle, and like if you can function and do those sorts of things. Like I, dated people or had friends that really like to, go out to bars and really like to party and go out and club and do things like that. But I'm like, I'm a little introvert baby. Like I can't do that, or else I need like, 3 to 5 business days to recover from any night out. So it just becomes easier to not go out. Again, the other thing too was because where I grew up and like where I lived when I became like of age to go out and party and stuff like that, I stayed at home like for university. And it was like such an expensive cab ride to go out to the bar to drink. So I just ended up driving all the time. So again, I wasn't ever drinking because I was DDing myself home every time. And I was like, okay, it's all good. Oh yeah. Just the cheap stuff for Kat now. She's like, I want the box wines only. Boxed and bag wines for the win. None of this bougie shit. No more. Which honestly, I feel like your budget probably appreciates that. I know you're saying you don't really drink at all in general, but could you imagine? You're just like, all of these bougie things I'm completely put off by now. Only the cheap stuff for me from now on. Is it more like what those things represent though? You know what I mean? Than the actual like flavors themselves. Okay, here's our first Darjeeling. Yeah, I bet. Because that's the thing, like alcohol, like drinks and going out is very expensive. And especially if like you're going out for a meal and you're having like drinks, dessert, all that kind of stuff, it absolutely adds up. Have a beer, home after work. Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard balance, isn't it? Where you're like, this is for, and I think that's a nice way to look at it, where it's like, this is for me, but I'm not going to push that on you. You know what I mean? Where it's like, I would like to check this thing out. I want to go to check out the local brewery, or I want to go do X, Y, and Z. And if the people are like, oh, I'd come with you, but I'm not going to drink. You don't go, oh, come on, man. Why not? Like, you're a bitch. Why aren't you doing it? You go, cool, man. Awesome. Like, good for you. Right? And I think that's a good balance, I think it's a good way with a lot of things. Because I think that was one of the things that I think everyone sort of goes through a phase where, especially when you're young and you're like a teenager, you're very judgy because I think you're trying to make sense of who you are in the world. And so then anything that's like different, or you can perceive people as being better off, more popular, more this, that than you. And you can get sort of in this like judgy rabbit hole. And I always remember like getting to a place in my life where my brain just switched, where I was kind of like, just because that's not for me doesn't mean I'm going to shit all over it for you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be like a silly example, right? Like, I was never a fan of wearing skirts or like midriff bearing tops or stuff like that. And so when you're like a teenager and you're sort of like, you have this internalized misogyny, you're like, oh, people who wear that kind of stuff are like bimbo sluts or whatever. And it's like, you get to a point where you're just like, no, just because I don't feel comfortable wearing those sorts of things doesn't mean that I have to push my insecurities onto these people, and also how they dress doesn't reflect who they are as a person. You know what I mean? Just like that whole, and it comes back to that internalized misogyny and then like consent culture. It's like regardless of what people are wearing, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's always helpful, because I think people who either try to pressure other people into doing things that they clearly don't want to do, or judge people for the way that they live their lives and do things, it's like, why? Don't be like that. Don't be your shitty, judgy teenage self. Be better. I like the occasional craft beer cider. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, unfortunately, having celiac disease and being gluten intolerant, I'm not able to partake in the beers. There are more options. Like, there's more gluten-free beer options and things like that, which is kind of cool. But I'm not a big fan of the flavor anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. Yeah, just trying to, because I think especially, I don't know, like, it was weird. I definitely feel like there was a definitive switch in my growing adolescent brain by being like, I don't need to think bad thoughts about someone based on their appearance. Because that just says more about me than it does about them. And I even do, like, I try to kind of call other people out on that sometimes. Like, there'll be people that I'll be like, oh, so-and-so always does this, and so-and-so always does that. And it's like, yeah, but don't suck their fun out of things. Just because you think that what they're interested in is vapid or stupid doesn't mean that it is to them, and you shouldn't feel, yeah, like, don't think that way, And then again, just because something is cool and good for you. That's like if they say, like, don't yuck your yum. You ever heard that phrase where it's like, I don't want to yuck your yum? Basically, the things that I think are not enjoyable doesn't mean that I'm going to shit all over them if you enjoy them, Yeah, I've changed a lot from that. Yeah. Exactly, yeah. And I think that's the thing, too, sometimes as well, like, if you're part of a family or a friend group that is quite judgy, it can be very easy to sort of fall into those traps. Or, it gets perpetuated as normal, or that's how you bond with people, right? You bond with people and develop relationships by, like, shitting on other people. And it's like, okay, whatever. You just found the most beautiful house in NH. Ooh. Where's NH? Let me guess. Let me think. New Hampshire? Is that the one? Try to guess the state abbreviations. Don't ask me where that shit is. Don't ask me to figure out where it is. But is that New Hampshire? Perfect. Yes. Tasha passes U.S. Geography 101. It was so funny too when I was organizing all of my like mailers for my giveaway and stuff. I was like going through because everyone had given me their mailing addresses, and so obviously they just do the abbreviation of the state. And I was like 90% sure on some of them, but I was like, I'm gonna Google it just in case, because if I put it there and it's actually the wrong state and it goes somewhere else completely different, I'd be like, no. Oh my goodness. It looks like a freaking castle. Are you kidding me? It's a literal castle. I don't, what? 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 Oh, especially with those like spires. There was a house in my hometown that had one of those like turrets. I called it the turret house, and I thought it was the most incredible thing ever. I was like, it looks like a castle. Aw, an Anon sub. That's incredible. Thank you, Mr. or Mrs. Anonymous, for your gifted sub. I appreciate you very much. There's a dance hall downstairs. That's like a thing you would rent this shit out for like weddings, you know what I mean? It is very pretty. But it's like a castle. That carpet's very interesting. The like textured carpet in the dining room. I've always loved like balcony stairs too, where you can just like lean over and see what's going on in the world. It's so pretty. Yes. Absolutely. Oh yeah, you like a good fixer-upper? Does your partner like that kind of stuff too? Like you guys are a DIY couple? Really? They had painted black trim? Interesting. That's a choice. Yeah. That's a decorative design choice for sure. No, he hates it. So he's like, oh, I'll move into a fixer-upper, and he'll be like, cool, I'm gonna stay in a hotel until you do that. To be fair, I have friends like that as well. When they were looking to buy their house, and my friend's partner, like, he wanted to live in like the middle of nowhere in like, you know, a fixer-upper and do all this stuff, and she's like, I need a place to live. So she's like, we're not buying a house that, you know, we can just barely afford to live in, that needs all this work done, and I can't actually live in it after I buy it. Absolutely not. So they compromised. I think their house was like move-in ready, but needed some like stuff, like some kind of modernizing and updating. So they've been kind of slowly doing that. But I remember her being like, we're not moving into the middle of nowhere into like a cesspool of money draining that I need to do. Cannot do part of it, we fight. Yeah. That's incredible. You're like, I know what I'm doing, so you just need to get out of my way. I love that. We love a headstrong queen. Liam likes doing little DIY projects. I don't mind helping him. Like, I'm one of those kinds of people because I have that like ability to do that intense hyper focus thing. So things like painting and things like, you know, like fiddly things like that, I enjoy doing, but with a caveat that like I can take my sweet ass time doing them. Liam quite enjoys doing DIY, but the thing is too, like, because he works full time, it's then difficult to find time to like chip away at stuff. So if we undertake like a big project that can't really be done in like a couple hours after work here and there, it's a bit difficult. But he loves a good project. Okay, how many more? We've got 3. Oh geez, for some reason I feel like I've just been doing this for ages. I'm like, why aren't we finished? We have 3 done, guys. 3 done, many more to go. Excuse me. Okay. To heat my lunch. Okie dokie. Yeah, fingers and toes crossed. Don't blow a fuse while you microwave your stuff during tornado season. Jesus. I don't know if it's tornado season, but the current tornado circumstances. know if you guys can tell, versus like the fact that I feel like I'm sharing spooky story time with the way everything is lit. It is pitch black outside right now. The sun has gone to bed. There's just floating strands of glue in the air. So we'll see if I can be asked. I probably will. We'll be moving this stuff back upstairs tomorrow, so we should have more light for the foreseeable future. You won't get to look at all my cool books anymore, but you know, it's okay. I think we'll be back down here periodically. It's basically like, if Liam needs access to the sort of stream room for a long period of time, it's just easier for me to come down here. And so we'll do that more periodically. So the bookshelf will make more of an appearance. And you know, maybe over time we'll learn how to light this space a bit better. It'll be trial and error, troubleshooting. I think it's just because too, like, the space is just a lot darker in general, despite the fact, you know, there's literally no overhead lighting in here. They're all like wall sconces. And then it's like this, it's like a beige, but I guess it's quite dark. It's like this textured beige wallpaper. This is actually one of the spaces we need to kind of update. We've not really done, we've like added stuff to it, but we've not done any surface level things. So since we moved in, so it's still quite dated in terms of how it looks. We've not even, we really have to do this. We've not even replaced these like old granny curtains that came with the house. I'm sure they're in need of a good clean, and also they're like super dated, but I don't know, we've just not gone around to it yet. Our main like areas of focus were when we moved into the house were like in terms of getting the right stuff sorted was basically the office. Like we call it the green room because that's what color it is. But it has like both of our computers in it, and that's where like my streaming craft area is. And then we had to get the stuff in the bedroom, but like surface level. The only things we painted the downstairs bathroom just because there were like white and bluish tiles, which were really, really nice. But then they painted everything this like beigey magnolia, so it looked yellow next to these white tiles. And I'm like, this is ugly. I need to paint this. It's driving me mental. So I painted the part of the bathroom white, just a regular white, and then it was the green room area and then the spare room are sort of the only things that we've painted so far. There was an anonymous person who gave you a sub. I know, isn't that wild? An anonymous person, anonymous, it's like Nemo trying to say anemone. Anonymous. Now I was saying it for fun and now I can't say it. Anonymous. Now it doesn't sound right. You guys know what I mean. That person. The person who will not be named. Anonymous. That's the word. Anonymous. Oh. Okay. So we've not done a mint one yet. Okay, the pile is slowly, actually, maybe what we'll do, no, we'll do a mint one just because I want to. I was like, maybe we should just tackle one type of tea at a time just so it feels like we're making more progress. But variety is the slice of life, or the spice of life, isn't that what the saying is? Variety is the spice of life. So let's be spicy about it. I like how these even have tiny little barcodes on them. Again, you can't see that, but the tiny little black schmutz on the corner there is actually a teeny tiny barcode. Yeah. Honestly, I know. It's insane to me. I love it. But yeah, just like little things that no one is gonna notice, but the fact that it's there is incredible. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Hopefully, the goal is to get all of these little tea boxes done in the next 45 minutes. We'll see if we can get it done. It was funny. I posted on. I still have like a. I don't know if people even like really use Facebook anymore, but like my family still does. So I have it just to kind of keep my like grandparents and my relatives updated. So I was posting about how I was working on this craft kit, and my cousin has one as well that's like a little like library office one. And so she was saying how she had like, I don't know, like 100 little books she needed to fold and put together. So I assume it's very similar to this. So I don't envy her when she needs to make all of these tiny little books, because I assume it'll be very similar to this. After these tea boxes, there's these like little iridescent butterflies that we need to make. So these are templates for, let me see if I have it. Just laying about. I think I probably put it, did I put it somewhere safe? I hope so. Oh, here it is. This like iridescent film. So we're going to be making some butterflies with those, which I assume will probably be happening tomorrow, because I can't see that also happening after we've done all of this, but who knows? Maybe, perhaps. And then we'll see. I feel like the month is still young. I'm like, how many more days of this? 1, 2, 3, 6, 7? 7 more streams, maybe? Oh yeah, I think Kay is in the... Kay, are you already in the Discord? I think you are, because you shared your little needle felting critter. Because yes, everybody who... Actually, now that you say that, Meg, because you've been subbed, subs get an automatic addition into the Discord. So let me whisper that to you right now before I forget. Whisper, whisper. Like, I think that's part of a Billy Talent song. If anyone doesn't know, Billy Talent is like, I want to say they're part of the punk rock genre, but I think they're heavier than that. But there was a section in it. They go whisper, whisper, doot, 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 doot. Oh, now it's gonna bug me. Were you talking about a green room when we had one of those? When I've hit the dark green. Yeah, exactly. That's what we did. Oh, see, now it's gonna bug me. There's a Billy Talent song where they all start like scream singing whisper whisper at one point. The something 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 of yesterday. Oh god. Da 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 da. Red flag, I think. I think this is the one. We might get copy claimed. It's good though. It's good that you suggested that, Aurora. Let me see. Is this the song? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Red Flag. I think that's the one. And then at one point they yell, whisper, whisper, bah, 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 bah. Anyway, if you guys like harder rock bands, might I suggest to you Billy Talent? They're quite good. I really like their song Falling Leaves. Falling leaves on the ground. See, now I'm gonna have to listen to them. Oh, it was so funny. Liam really likes to find like new music. He'll just listen to playlists on Spotify and come across stuff. And so he came downstairs the other day and he was like, oh, I found a new song like that I've been listening to. And I was like, oh, really? What is it? And then he started to play it. And the very first chord, I instantly knew the song because it was I think, oh, see, I meant to check. I'm pretty sure they're a Canadian band. And it was a song that instantly transported me back to like the 10th grade. Yeah, they are. From Burlington, Ontario. Called Finger 11. And so there's a song called Paralyzer. And I remember I actually had it on my iPod. I had bought it off of iTunes. And so he was like, I found this song, let me show it to you. And then literally it goes, bling. And I'm like, that's Finger 11. It's so good. I love when that happens. Every once in a while, you know, I like to sneak the CanCon in that, right? It's a good song. The music video is pretty chill too. But yeah, so it instantly transported me back to the 10th grade. But I'm really happy because it's like I don't, you know, every once in a while, my musical tastes have not evolved since that sort of time period in my life, since high school. So a lot of the artists that I like and listen to are the same artists I was listening to when I was that age. But I always like when, you know, I come across something or somebody introduced me to something and I'm like, did you know that's Canadian? That's like a thing. I feel like if you're from a different country and you live somewhere, anytime something brings someone up, you go, you know that's from that place that I'm from. I do that all the time. I'll be like, you know that they're Canadian, right? You know that's from Canada, right? And they're like, shut up. So I always like that. I'm like, that's a Canadian band. I'm Canadian. Yeah, that is a really good song. Great Big Sea, yep, mm-hmm. Yes. Great Big Sea, absolutely. I think people share what they listen to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, mine's it's a lot of the same stuff, definitely. Yeah, Great Big Sea. Hey man, I feel like that's how I got into a lot of pop punk stuff, was because I had crushes on little emo boys. That's so funny. Yeah, Great Big Sea. I feel like if you know, grew up in the 2000s and people were on your zeitgeist, if you were like within the pop punk scene, obviously Sum 41, Simple Plan, Avril Lavigne, that's your pop punk from Canada. And then you got your Finger 11. Obviously, I know people shit on them, but you know, Nickelback, Theory of a Dead Man, which sounds just like Nickelback. Those are some 2000s classics. Really? That's funny. Did Highland dancing. No, unfortunately. I did Ukrainian dancing. I did Ukrainian folk dancing for many years when I was a youngster. But no Highland dancing, I'm afraid. Good, yeah, right? Okay, mint teas, done. We now have all 5 of the options have been made. That's these guys here. Here, we'll put the little tea gang here so everyone can see the selection that we have to offer. Yeah, I think the only like new music. Ew. I had a bottom because I can't. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. Yeah. You wonder why people do that. It's one of those things where like, it's funny because I feel like as I've gotten older, I've gotten to become a lot more private, like with that kind of information. I think as well too, though, it depends on the person. Because I think like, again, my partner's quite a private person. So I don't want to like blab about stuff on his, because of him, out of respect for him sort of thing. Whereas I was like, growing up, I was like, I'm an open book. You can ask me anything, whatever, whatever. But now as I've gotten older, I'm like, nah, you guys don't need to know everything about me, Yeah. Right? Exactly. Mm-hmm. Like, anything that isn't relationship oriented or relationship adjacent, I'm like fine talking about, you know what I mean? But especially when you're like with someone and then you're like talking about, like, I'll bring up like, oh, my ex thought this or whatever, but I would never go into detail because it feels weird talking about like your sexual exploits with people outside of your partner. Interesting. But I feel like 20-year-old me didn't feel that way. I was like, hey, whatever, I'll talk about whatever, I don't give a shit. Whereas I'm a bit. Maybe I'm older and wiser. My prefrontal cortex is fully developed now. It was so funny. When I was in my early 20s, I ran a youth group. And I learned this fact that like your prefrontal cortex that's in charge of all your decision making isn't even fully formed until you're like 25. And so I used to joke that it was just the blind leading the blind. Because I was like, I'm like in my early 20s in charge of all of these like teenagers. And I'm like, neither of us know what the hell we're doing. We're all just, making bad choices and trying to figure things out. So. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's hard too. I know sometimes I used to feel like that when I was younger, where you would, like it's this weird thing where you have to try really hard if you're not in a good headspace to not compare yourself to other people, even like previous relationships. Because then it's like you're constantly comparing yourself to somebody who doesn't even exist in that person's life anymore. And that's not fair to anyone. And then also it's like a losing battle, right? You can never compete with something that doesn't, like that theoretically doesn't actually exist anymore. You're just like chasing ghosts. Yeah. I think sometimes like things like that can help inform something. Like if something is really triggering for somebody and they're like, oh my God, like I see something is really upsetting you, and people ask, you can be like, oh, like my ex said or did this thing that was really shitty. So now when people do X, this is now how I react because of that previous experience. So sometimes you do need to talk about those things, and it's helpful to talk about them because then you can like grow as a couple and as a person. Because like if I would do something, if that wasn't maybe something that meant anything to me, but if then like my partner would turn around and if they would say like, oh, my ex did this thing, and they were like maybe really shitty to me. So even though it's like, I know that's not your intention when you do X, Y, and Z, that makes me feel like I did when I was with this terrible person. So then you go, oh, okay, shit, no worries, I won't do that anymore. Or like I'll ask the question or say something in a different way to respect that that's like a trigger for you, right? So that's just like being, a good communicative person. Yeah. Aw, that's amazing. Yeah. It was so funny because, I'm sure you won't mind this, but because Liam and I obviously, because we met, and I didn't, we didn't meet here. We met actually in Australia, and then I went back to Canada for school, and so we were long distance for a little while. And so he was, still like a lot of his friends at the time, like, were single and stuff. So he was still going out to clubs and things. And I used to ask him, and it wasn't intentionally, because I would be like, oh, like, you got back from the club. Did anybody hit on you? I was like, oh, did any girls try to get with you? And he was like, no. And I would get upset. I'd be like, are you kidding me? Like, you are such a catch. You are a 10 out of 10. I'm like, I would get offended. I'm like, really? You're not going to try to hit on my man so he can tell you that, like, I'm sorry, I'm seeing someone? I said, damn. Unless they could tell. You know what I mean? But, like, I used to get offended. I used to be like, what do you mean no one hit on you? Do they not realize what a catch you are? You're clearly a 10. These girls are just dumb and they don't understand. I used to be like, British girls are stupid if they don't realize what a catch you are. Why aren't they hitting on you at the club? Yeah, a little bit. Not so much, obviously, as of recently. Most of my traveling has been limited to, like, going back to Canada and stuff, but I did a little here and there. It helps when you have, international relationships. It's an excuse to travel places. Not that I intended that to happen, but, Yeah, I did. That was, like, I remember this because I went to Australia. It was, like, through a tour group because I had just finished school and got, like, my first kind of big girl job, but I was still living at home and, like, wasn't fully in, like, full adult mode. So that was, like, my sort of big present to myself of, like, finishing school and getting my first, like, real job or whatever. So I booked this tour to go to Australia for 3 weeks. It was like a month tour group. And there were 20 people on the tour. Yeah, well, if they are, I didn't remember or see any of them. I know there's that joke that it's like everything in Australia can kill you, but we were in like on like a tour bus. There were moments where we did kind of go camping and things, but I never came across anything that I was like, that's wild. You know what I mean? I feel like everything was quite contained where we were. We also went in sort of like spring-ish. I went like in November, I want to say. So that was like their springtime. So I don't know if maybe the bugs don't come out until later. I don't know. But yeah, I've only been the one time, so I really can't recall. But yeah, it was really cool. And then, yeah, there were 20 people in the tour group, 2 dudes. Liam was one of them. And I was like, I like this boy. And so we had no idea if we were ever going to see each other again after the tour group, because I went back home to go to school. He went back to his life, but then we just chatted every day, and we were like, okay, this is a thing. We should try to do this. And we did. And yeah, so we were long distance for a bit, and then because I was finishing school. And then he was like, well, I have my life here. And I was like, whatever, I'll move to England. Which felt like such an easy option. I didn't think, like, I don't know. I assumed, like, moving from one English-speaking country to another English-speaking country would be fine. I didn't realize the amount of culture shock I was going to experience. But he has a very close-knit family and friends here, whereas, like, my parents were moving out of my childhood home in a couple years. My brother was in a different part of the country. I was like, we're all spread out. You guys are all in the same place. Like, sure, fuck it. Like, I'll move. We'll see what happens. So, yeah. I know it's funny because I feel like we're, like, not the most, like, stereotypical romantic people. But I tell Liam all the time, I'm like, you realize when I explain to people how we meet, it's, like, low-key one of the more, like, romantic stories that people have heard. And he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, dude, we met on the other side of the world. Like, how is that not a huge, like, you guys met on OkCupid? That's cute. I feel like that's more common, you know what I mean? Like, the fact that I didn't meet my person online seems like that's the rarity nowadays. Like, unless you meet the people, like, through school or through work or whatever, I feel like it's probably quite difficult to meet people without the internet, you know? Met her in Paris. That's so funny. Parallel lives. I do like the idea of having, you know, a doppelganger out in the world. Yeah, shared friend group. Haha, that's amazing. I think that's something that very similarly happened to my brother and sister-in-law. They were they had mutual friends and they started kind of hanging out that way. And I think originally my sister-in-law's best friend was interested in my brother-in-law, but then that wasn't kind of really working out. And then they ended up getting together and they've been together for like friggin' forever. That's really cute though. I love that. They're like, low-key, you guys have crushes on each other. You'd be perfect together. Come on now. Because sometimes I feel like that can be really hard. Because I've definitely been in those experiences, obviously, like when I was younger, when you like get crushes on your friends. And then it's like, if that ends badly, then it's like the whole friendship can be ruined and that makes it awkward for like your friends and all this kind of stuff. So I can see how sometimes it can be difficult to take that jump. But it sounds like that worked incredibly for you. It's funny, my parents actually, they met in, they tell me officially when they first sort of met each other because they went to high school together, but they met in 12th grade calculus class. And I'm like, are you guys not just the two biggest nerds I've ever heard of? To be fair, my dad really wasn't that big of a nerd. He did become like an engineer, but he, I think, looked more like a stoner burnout kid, even though he didn't like do illicit substances as far as I know. But he just like wore like the flannel and had like the big thick 70s glasses and looked like a bit of a miscreant because he lived like on a farm. But yeah, so I love that. We met in 12th grade calculus class. Nerds! But they've been together forever. So, you know, they met when they were in the 12th grade, married, right? Honestly, yes. All the numbers and decimals and all the things, just full romance going on there. But yeah, they met in 12th grade. They got married going into their last year of university. Like, they did tell me, they're like, don't do what we did. This was, you know, the way we went about things. But hey man, they're still together, so good for them. My dad too. That's so funny. Writing a per maintenance ticket. Taco truck. Oh, that's cute. Hey man, I like that. Hey man, were the tacos incredible? It doesn't matter where the taco stand was. Good tacos is good tacos. I wouldn't mess with that. No way! That's so funny. Look at that. Look at all the weird, like, you know, the universe is saying some stuff today. There's a lot of parallels and, you know, coincidences happening today. I have a doppelganger somewhere. People's meet cutes are incredibly similar. Wild. Wild. But yes, the tacos were fire. Absolutely. I feel like most of the time, like, that's not really, food trucks aren't a huge thing here unless they're, like, parked at certain events and things. Whereas, like, I feel like I've listened to podcasts and I've talked to, you know, people in the States, and they're like, yeah, there's this particular food truck in this certain area that, like, does the best X, Y, and Z. So, I'm not surprised that the tacos at the taco truck were fire. Whoop. See, it's to the point where, like, the ruler is too big for this. It's, like, hiding the rest of the tea container. Yeah, that's the thing. I think it depends on certain places. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. I know there's, like, for us, it's less, I don't know. It's, like, to be fair, there's one actually in, like, the DIY store in the parking lot of, like, B&Q, which is, like, our, like, Lowe's or Home Depot equivalent. Near us in the parking lot there's, like, a food truck stall that does, like, teas and coffees and, like, breakfast food and stuff. A baked potato truck? That sounds incredible. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that sounds next level. I would love that. Are you kidding me? That sounds, I wish. I want so bad. Like, loaded baked potatoes are absolutely top tier food. Just potatoes in general. I feel like I'm trying to remember. I feel like I've been to a wedding where the, like, you know how there's usually, like, a midnight snack or, like, an evening snack after, like, everyone's been dancing and stuff? I'm pretty sure. Oh no, I think it was a poutine bar. So kind of different things. But I think my friend, like, at her wedding, they had, like, basically, like, a potato bar. So I think it was poutine, though. I think it was, like, a poutine bar. So you could then do your own, like, cheese curds and gravy and stuff. So almost a loaded baked potato. Aw, shucks, with the different versions of corn. Honestly, my favorite thing is, like, when you go to one, like, a county fair, like the exhibition games and stuff like that, and they grill the big corns, and they leave, like, the cob handle for you, and you can cover it in, like, butter, and, like, they have this excellent seasoning. You can only get them at, like, county fairs and, like, exhibition games. Same thing as these things, they call them, like, potato tornadoes. I'm sure you guys have seen them, where people basically, like, take a power drill, essentially, and manage to take a whole potato and spiralize it, and then they stick it on a massive kebab stick, and they fry that shit and cover it in salt and pepper, and it's like, mwah. It's just, like, the greatest creation ever. Yeah, absolutely. I thought Fair K, Aw Shucks would be an excellent name for an oyster bar. Mexican corn is so good. Ooh, I don't know if I've specifically had Mexican corn, but that sounds amazing. Yes. That sounds amazing. Aw Shucks. Yeah, 100%. Why isn't Aw Shucks an oyster bar? But yeah, guys, now I'm absolutely hungry. Thanks. This always happens around this time. Like, towards the end of stream, we start talking about food, and then I'm, like, salivating. A local oyster bar or a food truck? Either way, that sounds exciting. When I went down to the, like, the coast near here, I went to this place that was, I guess, in the particular area, the, like, oldest oyster shack, I guess, in this particular area. It was very good. Never thought about how you can shuck corn in an oyster. Yeah, I never dawned on me either. Why is it that the most like counter opposite food items you can shuck? Are there any other foods that you can shuck? How much food can a food shuck if a food truck could shuck food? I love it. How much food could a food truck shuck if a food truck could shuck food? The potato one? Excuse me. You must go and then report back. You can shuck anything if you believe hard enough. That's fair. With that attitude, we can shuck any food. Anything can be shucked if you dream. If you have a dream, you can. Can't find the potato one, might be gone. Oh, the corn one, still, man. Please report back. Any food truck experiences you guys have, please report back. Tell me how delicious it was. Let me live vicariously through you all. Please and thank you. Just believe in yourself. Exactly. There was a place last time, it was a couple years ago, my parents were here. And I can't remember how we found it. I think it was on one of those like best restaurant lists or whatever. And it was like a potato chip restaurant. So you could get either sweet chips or savory chips, you know, just like, or crisps as they call them in Britain. Yeah, so you could get like a cinnamon sugar crisp or just like your regular salted crisp. And then they had all the different kinds of dips. So this whole restaurant, this whole place was just about eating chips with dip. And it was incredible. We went there with my parents and me and my mom were in absolute heaven. We're like, this is literally our life. Chips and dip all day, every day. Now that your hot dogs are left over on that. Ooh, decisions. Both sound like excellent options. I had leftover fried rice for lunch today with some cheese and crackers. Because it's like the leftover fried rice wasn't like a portion that was big enough to like really make me feel full. So I had to supplement with some other things. They have a skillet corn baked potato. That sounds incredible. You're gonna go ahead and eat. Yeah, no problem, Meg. Thank you so much for stopping by. It was a pleasure to have you. I hope you find some excellent good eats and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for hanging out. But yeah, go get yourself fed. All this food talk is making us all hungry and I respect the desire to go feed yourself. We're gonna be heading out in 10 minutes anyway, so perfect timing. Yeah, we absolutely are not getting all these done. I promise I will get them all done. Nom well. Absolutely. We wish you all the good noms. What have we gotten done today? Okay, yes, we made our plant. We made our paper rolls. And now we've just been making... Oh, we made the little... Okay. We've been a little bit more productive than I thought we would be. Or that I felt like we have been. Because I was like, is it literally all we've done today? No, we've done, what, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things aside from tea boxes. So it's not the worst. Not the worst thing. I promise we'll work on something else tomorrow. Within the tiny accessories. It's good though, because there's the next thing I have to figure out how to do is I actually have to do some... Ooh, I have to be a tiny electrician. We'll try to do tiny electrical things tomorrow. Because we have to make the little light that goes in the top of the tea shop. So maybe that will be tomorrow's job. Because after we do the butterflies and the potted plant, yes, we have to make the ceiling light. I think that'll be an excellent way to end to work on Friday. Is Tasha moonlights as tiny electrician. I will be tiny electrician. I do not have proper certification, but we are going to wire the lamp in the house. Why not? Yeah, actually, there's like a whole wire kit. And I had to ask Liam because they have those like, these are like those shrink wrap wire protectors. And I was like, how am I supposed to shrink wrap it? Fire? What do I use? And he's like, a lighter. And I'm like, I have to use fire to heat shrink this over some wire? So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's a battery pack and like tiny wires and like a little light and everything. It's gonna be wild. We'll see if I can even do it. I think that's the only electrical thing that I need to do. But yes, it still needs to happen. We'll see. It's a battery pack. So I'm hoping, you know, you can't electrocute yourself on a battery pack, can you? I don't think so. It'll be fine, guys. It'll be okay. Okay, that's hardcore, right? Oh no. We'll see. I might need assistance. But yeah, if I can spend like tomorrow morning off stream working on, I'll finish all these tea boxes. So we're just gonna do all new stuff tomorrow, hopefully. I hardwired a light. It also had a push button to turn it on for my light above my mirror in our room. Ah, look at you! Also moonlighting as an electrician. I love that. See, it'll be okay, guys. It'll be fine, because if Kat's here tomorrow, then I'll be safe, because she knows what she's doing. Kat's the goat. Kat's the DIY queen, and so I will use her DIY confidence. I will channel it and make it happen. That's awesome, though. Good for you. I have changed light bulbs. Liam had to do, because a bunch of when we first moved into this house, I think everything held on until we like bought it, and then slowly all of the old like fixtures and things have just been kind of crumbling. So we've had to replaced the light sconces, and to the point where like some of the fixings to secure all the wires and stuff in were just like full on crumbling. So he had to do a little bit of like wire MacGyvering to make sure everything was all sealed up. And I assisted him installing a ceiling fan in our room. But again, I just hold the things. Ooh, leftover mac and boobly. What flavor is the boobly? Yeah, right? It does seem very daunting. It's interesting what people, like, because Liam always tells me he doesn't mind doing electric work, but he doesn't like doing, like, plumbing stuff. So he's, like, with electrics, like, it makes sense to him, but he's, like, plumbing just seems so finicky. So when there's ever any plumbing issues, we just call the professionals. We don't attempt to DIY it. So there's certain things that, like, you know, people have different comfort levels about. So I respect that. Yeah. Yeah, so some people, like, we have friends that are like, oh, I wouldn't touch electrics, but I would absolutely do plumbing. And he's like, absolutely not. So everyone has their preferences. I think because sometimes, like, you change things or you, like, move stuff. And it's, like, at least with electrics, there's circuitry. And so if it doesn't work, it's like, oh, things have been miswired wrong. And then it's like with plumbing, it's like, oh no, there's a crack, something's not tight enough. It's like it's less logical. Plumbing feels like the less logical of the trades, as opposed, like, in terms of fixing the problems. Change out the guts in the toilet. Ooh, yeah. That's fair. That's not bad though. Honestly, good for you. You weren't messing around when you said you knew what you were doing. And you told your hubby to stay out of the way. I would trust you. My mother-in-law loves watching all these, like, DIY people who are, like, renovating old houses and stuff on YouTube. So she's very much into watching people refurbish those sorts of things. Okay. Wow. That's awesome that you're able to do that. Yeah, you have to, like, modernize stuff like that. I know my parents did a little bit of that before they sold our childhood home. Because there's like certain like modernizing or certain things that need to happen in order for it to be. And I guess too, depending on like how old the place is, there could be stuff that's like not up to code anymore and stuff like that, right? Mom is getting some testing today. Jeez. Oh, I remember before I got diagnosed with celiac disease, and I used to go for blood tests all the time, and I used to hate it so much, and I'd be like, do you want to just like chop off my arm? Do you want to just chop it off, and so then you have the supply you need instead of this like constant, you know what I mean? Jeez, I do not. Ugh. DIY the entire house with less areas. Wow. That's amazing. Good for them. Yeah, my dad chipped away at stuff and things. But yeah, with my mom, we used to paint all of our rooms and different things like that, so. But yeah, never any like hardcore DIY, just like surface level stuff. But my dad would do like the harder stuff. Hopefully she has lots of sugary snackies to keep her blood sugars up. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. You're like, no, absolutely no grudge. Absolutely not. That's amazing. So your mom's quite the handy person as well then. That's awesome. That's so frustrating. No wonder you guys have like a strained relationship. You know what I mean? Like, cause when, especially like if you are, cause it sounds like you're incredibly close to your mom, to watch that sort of stuff and have them be taken advantage of, it's hard as a kid to not feel a certain way about that. You know what I mean? Yeah, the penis as well. Oh, that's funny. She's like, this is the correct way. Everyone else is trash, and therefore they cannot be trusted. The attention to detail. I love it. All right. I think we might call it for today, and then we'll go and raid out if anyone has any raid suggestions. If not, we'll go see which one of our friends. Tile in the kitchen. I like that. You have the longer arms. You can do the thing. Tile's no joke as well. This is a little bit not 100% folded, but that's fine. It's all good. That's awesome. We did like, cause we have tile in our kitchen, but they were like a green and a red. And a lot of our stuff that we had from our old kitchen was red and black. And so we got the like sticky vinyl that you can then cut out and stick over stuff, sort of like fakey tiles. So then I cut out vinyls in the shape of the tiles that were already on the wall and tiled over stuck over the green ones. So then it was green and black, or red and black instead of green and black. But yeah. Okay, let's put those over here. Here's all of the tiny tea boxes from today. Let's take stock of all of our creations. So first we have all of the tiny teas in various, levels of blurriness for your eyeballs. Varying levels of autofocus. So we did that. We did our little plant. Our little plant here. Our little treat bag, which is super cute. And our little paper rolls. So not nearly as much stuff as we did the other day, mostly because I think this stuff is a lot tinier and fiddlier. But still, again, some progress is better than no progress. Am I right? So we have all the teeny tiny teas. So what I'll do is I'll try to finish. We have what, 1, 2, 3, 4 teas left. So I will work on finishing those before stream tomorrow. So then when we do stream, we'll just jump into our iridescent butterflies and what's next after that? I think it's iridescent butterflies, another plant. This is actually an indoor potted plant. So yeah, so we're currently on paper boxes. Once we're done, we'll move on to iridescent butterflies, followed by the potted plants. And then I'm going to moonlight as tiny electrician and make the ceiling lamp. And then after that, we actually get to move on to the showcase, which is actually constructing something that we get to put all of our tiny accessories into, which is incredibly exciting. So I'm really hoping we can get to that point. Maybe what I'll do, well, I'll see. We'll see. I'll make no promises, but I'll try to get some of these more fiddly bits done so we can jump right into the electricianing and the showcase, because I think that's going to be so fun to finally put all of these little accessories somewhere to start, assembling the actual storefront, which I'm very, very excited for. But until then, we must go forth and raid a fellow friend and see what everyone is up to. And then, yeah, we'll be back upstairs tomorrow as well. Back in the stream space. Oh, geez, I just looked in that light a bit too intently. Ghost mode will be deactivated for tomorrow. But we may, periodically throughout the weeks, ghost mode may be reinstated. So it'll be a surprise every time you come in. Don't go into the light, right? Exactly. I must resist. I feel like, what is it? I feel like a moth. Like a moth to a flame. Oh, that reminds me of, there's an episode of Daria where Trent is trying to write a song and all he just keeps saying over and over again is moth to a flame. Something, something, moth to a flame. Okay, who's online? Ooh. LL Coolib is doing more stained glass, and she's streaming until her mic dies. So hopefully it doesn't die soon. She might be going to raid out soon. I hope she's not. Oh, I think she is. I think she's getting ready to leave, so maybe we won't raid out. Damn. Okay, let's go find someone else. To be fair, I feel like she was streaming a lot before I came on, so I'm sure she deserves some R&R. So we'll go... Okay, so I assume she will be heading out soon. Who else is available for visiting? Ooh, Seabird Studios is making an optical illusion rug. Soap Passion looks like they're playing a game. Dragon Rider is making an eye pillow. Artemis is playing Animal Crossing. Saul is playing Anvil of Dawn. Betsy Paints. I don't know what she's working on. Let's go see Seabird Studio. She's making an optical illusion quilt. Oh, hello. You gonna say hi to everyone? You gonna make a rare appearance? Oh, you can already kind of see his nose. Can we see you? Hello. How you doing? Yeah? Did you have a nice time? Okay, here we go. The end of stream long boy appearance. That's it. Now we can officially... We'll go and see Seabird Studio now. Right? Oh, Boop. I'm sure he appreciates the Boop K. Thank you very much. Alright. Oh, let's go see Seabird Studio. Making an optical illusion quilt. This actually looks like it's gonna be really cool, and it feels it looks very like Wonderland adjacent. So let's go say hi to her. And I will see you guys tomorrow for more tiny creations. Okay, let's go. Okay. Oh, I forgot to do the raid message. Balls. Hang on. 1 second. 1 second. Ah! I unrated. How rude of me. I forgot. Here's the raid message. Okay. Let's try this again. Thanks for being patient, friends. Thank you for being patient. Here we go. Let's try this again. And I will see you tomorrow for more shenanigans. Okay. Let's do it.